1 minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
For the ball game, 4th and goal. Prescott in the gun, snap is back. He has some time. He throws it in the end zone. It's a touchdown to Jalen Tolbert on the left side of the end zone, crossing in front of Deshaun Elliott with 20 seconds to play. Goodness gracious me.
Can you get any more dramatic? Hey, welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Literally 4th and goal, 100 timeouts just to set up the drama to maximum capacity. Pearl.
Oh, some fumbles. You had the whole work. But that's your average NFL game. Basically, ignore the first 59 minutes and 30 seconds and tune in. Like they used to say about the NBA, it is crazy, the close games on Sunday. I thought we were done with the drama, Maggie. I thought we were done. We went in the night, got a little Cowboys-Steelers. And deep into the night, they just played and played and played.
They did. So the game was delayed about an hour and a half because of really bad thunderstorms, terrible rain in Pittsburgh. But we were delighted to kind of a disjointed game, I would say, at first. But it obviously delivered at the very end. And 2 big takeaways for me from this game. First, from the Cowboys side. This is where you feel lucky to have Dak Prescott. Just admit it, Cowboys fans. You hate the guy, you malign the guy, you didn't want him re-signing, you want to see what life is like without Dak Prescott. Bet you were happy you had him last night because there were quarterbacks all over the NFL who could not make that throw yesterday. There were a lot of guys who came up really short in that moment. And I know he threw at interceptions earlier in the game, I get it, but you want to have someone competent at the end of the game. Dak Prescott delivered. You can't ask for anything more.
Yeah, I don't know if Cowboys fans feel that way. They
should.
I love Dak, but I got to tell you, I don't think a regular season win is going to change the narrative on Dak for Cowboys fans. I feel like they're like, okay, this is good. Let's see January. And I'm sorry. This is great. This was totally nerves of steel by Dak Prescott, but Maggie, you know Cowboys fans. Do you think this kind of win moves the needle on Dak? See, I don't think it does. He's the longest tenured starter. We've seen him do this 100 times.
Yes, but again, need to have it on the road. You're missing some key pieces. You keep missing more. You keep losing guys as the game is going on. You're going up against most likely, by most metrics, the number 1 defense in the league. And what more can you ask for your quarterback? You're trailing by 4. You need a touchdown. He marches you down the field, and you win the game and you get out of there. I mean, that's it. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen in January, but I liked what I saw from him in October.
Doesn't that feel like same old Dak? The sentence you just said, I don't know what's going to happen in January, but I like what I see in October. I don't think that's enough for Cowboys fans. This is more like a sigh of relief win than a let's go win.
Okay, but here's the thing. I watched the San Francisco 49ers lose on Sunday. We'll get to that.
Their kicker blew out his knee, and Christian McCaffrey's hurt. That has nothing to do with the quarterback.
Well, their red zone is totally messed up. And so if McCaffrey, is he coming back?
Their red zone's only messed up because their kicker was in surgery.
Okay, well, we'll find out what happens moving forward. You have does anyone really think the Falcons and Tampa Bay are like, and we'll see the Saints tonight, are they world beaters? Minnesota Vikings go to 5-0, and you got Detroit there and Green Bay. Green Bay wins yesterday, obviously. The Vikings win yesterday. The Bears win yesterday. So maybe you got to deal with the North. The NFC East, like, this is what I'm setting up for you, is that the Cowboys should be contenders in the NFC. I'm looking at the top of some of these divisions, and I don't know how overly scared I am. Are you really? Fantastic win by the Vikings yesterday. You go to London, Aaron Rodgers was all confused, throwing bad passes, throwing interceptions. But there's an opportunity here for Dallas in the NFC. Like, they could be one of the top echelon teams in the NFC.
Have you been in a coma for the last 10 years? What are you talking about? Wait, don't you know what happens to the Cowboys?
Perloff,
they've been way better shape than they are this year. This year, they are thin. And they're going into an NFC with a loaded Lions team, a loaded Packers team, and who knows about San Francisco. You're right. They might be off. But generally, like, I don't feel like there's more of an opportunity than usual for the Cowboys.
Well, I'm just saying, let those teams in the NFC North beat up on each other. I think a lot of people thought, and I didn't even pick the Cowboys to make the playoffs. I'm saying it's not as dire as it may have seemed. And I'm not just going to fast forward and say, all right, what happens in January? Or else we should just not even talk about the Cowboys. We should talk about any of the contenders if we're not going to go with the ebbs and flows of the season and understand the checkpoints and the meaningful games. And going on the road in Pittsburgh, when you have the weather situation that throws everything off and you have a great defense that probably should have stopped you at the end of the game and you overcome it anyway, I'm going to give them some credit for that.
Okay, I'd like to hear from Cowboys fans, because you could give them credit as a broadcaster, but if you were a Cowboys fan, wouldn't you just say, okay, we did this, but you still have in the back of your mind that the team is collapsed, and it still feels like a similar team in the sense that they're not fully rounded. Their run game is actually showed up a little bit last night, and you mentioned earlier, like, it does feel like they're getting a little thin, like injuries are playing havoc with them. The other thing too is the Commanders are sitting there.
Well,
like,
I know.
That's the,
but is there you're still putting all your eggs into a rookie quarterback basket, and Jane Daniels looks unstoppable.
Right. I'm just saying, it feels like the season, this was a nice win last night, but you talk about major checkpoints. I feel like those two teams are on a collision course to win this division. So I just feel like I'm not going there with you where I'm going to read the game last night and say this is a turning point for the Cowboys.
Where I started was, this is why you're happy you have Dak Prescott. This is why you're happy you actually do have one of the top half quarterbacks in the league, top third, wherever you want to put him. Is he a top 5 quarterback? He's not a top 5 quarterback, but is he good enough to win you that game last night? I think you're happy that he's on your team. And then on the flip side, my other takeaway from this game last night, and we're talking about the Cowboys' escape with a win in Pittsburgh, I don't think Justin Fields has done enough to hang on to this job, guys. And I don't know what Russell Wilson is going to look like. And Fields took some huge hits last night. At one point, had to leave the game to get looked at for a concussion. And Kyle Allen came in, and boom, they had their biggest gain on offense in the one throw down the seam to Freiermuth. And then you saw Fields air it out just a little bit, tiny bit more. But as much as he's been an interesting story, I think he's easy to root for, but I do not think he's done enough.
So you put in Wilson next week?
I think I'm putting in Wilson next week.
You know, part of this is the Steelers' design. As Tarico pointed out, they've been in this position, I don't know, every single week of every year.
Yeah, they love it. Yeah.
They want to be right around 17-13 with 3 minutes left. This is by design. This is how they run their offense.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is the coaching staff, too. Like, they want to play conservative and they want to keep the game close. It is crazy that they go into every halftime with 3 points. I mean, their offense stinks.
Well, I'm a little worried, too. What does it look like if Justin Fields getting some of these dirty yards, the 3rd and 1, the 3rd and 2, where he just sort of runs into the line of scrimmage? You're obviously not going to have that if you make the switch to Russell Wilson. But I haven't seen enough. You're right. Maybe it's by design. Maybe it's just the function of the offense. You're probably right about that. But can we get a few more explosive plays? Anything?
Yeah, I mean, they made a statement in the offseason by hiring Arthur Smith. They went from the Matt Canada experiment to the Matt Canada 2.0 and Arthur Smith. Yeah. I mean, they basically, Tomlin wants to be conservative, and it almost got him to 4-1.
Sure.
So, but I feel like, just much like we talked about the future of the Cowboys, and maybe they're setting up for another January letdown. feels like the Steelers could be the same team again. And I don't mean to say that nothing changes, but they feel like they could be 9-8, maybe make the wild card, lose that game. Kind of feels like history repeating itself there.
It could be 855-212-4227. The other part about making the switch to Russ, and it's not just because they lost, obviously, because the Steelers are 3-2. They've got a winning record. I could understand if they stay with Fields. But are you guys watching the Ravens? Nothing wrong. And by the way, are you also watching the Bengals, who we'll discuss what happened with that crazy game that goes to overtime. Imagine this. You fumble in overtime. Somehow you still win the game. That never happens, or rarely happens, but it happened to the Ravens. But all of a sudden, you're seeing the Ravens and the Bengals. They've got these great offenses.
Well, yeah, I mean they're the Ravens and the Bengals.
Ravens and Bengals to me is always defense. Lou Anarumo, Ravens defense, this vaunted defense, and they were just up and down the field yesterday. So that's another reason if I'm the Steelers. Maybe I'm thinking, I got to get this offense. Yeah. We need a new dimension here.
One thing about the Steelers have a way easier schedule than Cincinnati and Baltimore. So Cincinnati's got some easy games now, but then it gets hard at the end. So the Steelers could sneak in if they kind of needed Cincinnati to win that game yesterday because I think they're going to be fending off the Ravens. But the Ravens are still one of the best teams in the league, one of the top 3 teams in the league. So yeah, it's going to be, if the Steelers win, they have to find weird ways to win. They have to do ball control. I mean, they easily could have won last night and gone to 4-1. That's Tomlin's game. And I think that's why we've had Steelers fans who are really frustrated with them. It's like, this is not a championship formula. This is a formula to get to 10-7.
855-212-4227. So that was a thriller last night.
As usual. I mean, every game. It felt like almost all the games came down to about 3 plays.
Yeah, and who's smart and who's dumb? That's what it came down to yesterday. Who's got a brain in their head and who doesn't have a brain in their head? I think a lot of that, I was questioning whether coaches got some halftime lobotomies or something.
I think you're talking about your coaching staff.
Well, maybe. Maybe I am. I felt like I saw a few boneheaded things, but definitely led by my Buffalo Bills.
Buffalo took the cake. The rest of
yeah, thank you.
I mean, I think
we're number one.
There was definitely one half of a coaching staff in London that didn't know what they were doing.
Robert Saleh might as well just buy a ticket and sit in the front row. What does he even do? Like, that's a Nick Sirianni, what do you do around here question. Yeah, I would say there was a couple different coaching staffs I thought were a little
I mean, honestly, the Bengals probably should have pushed the ball down the field before that final field goal. Zach Taylor running 3 straight plays into the line. He got ripped a lot, too. But then for all those, there was a New York Giants sort of blocking a field goal. There was just like a fumble that they would return for 100 yards. It did feel like a chaos Sunday.
It did. Something in the air. I think it was coming off the college football from the day before. You have 5 ranked teams lose. Obviously, headlined by Alabama.
Yeah.
Being upset by Vanderbilt, and the Diego Pavia era begins. I'm cool to live in the Diego Pavia era. I like this dude.
One of the best names you'll hear in sports right now.
And cool to watch.
Yeah.
So, yeah, kind of, you're right, Perloff. I think the chaos, though, started... baseball playoffs always throw a little bit of weirdness into and anything can happen. And I think the craziness started on Saturday.
Totally.
And then bled over.
I think it's also the too high safety thing. Like, everybody has to run a lot of plays, and that means more chances for mistakes. There's very few explosive plays. So you're just basically waiting for your team to screw up. I mean, listen, it was Josh Allen versus CJ Stroud. Great quarterbacks, right? Like, you knew they were both going to screw up about 10 times. So I think defenses have adjusted and creating this chaotic kind of football where you used to be able to have Mahomes quick striking and winning convincingly. That is not a thing anymore in the NFL.
Yeah, 855-212-4227. So this is what we love to do here on Mondays. Love that you're with us to react to an incredible weekend of sports. But we're going to try to get to every game. But if we're not getting to your game and you want to talk about your team, it's cool. Call us, 855-212-4227. You can watch the show, youtube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network, and on X at Maggie Gray. EJ was at a wedding this weekend.
I was.
How'd it go?
It was okay. And my knee is still attached, which is good.
Were you able to boogie, dance?
Not really, but what sucks about going to a wedding when everybody is drunk is they just feel like, hey, I know you're hurt, but get on the dance floor. I was like, no, I'm actually seriously injured. Like, no, come on, let's go. So I'm being dragged out, one leg hopping onto the dance floor. So
don't be a Debbie Downer, EJ.
Get out there.
I know, right? Got to rub some dirt on it and get out there like they do back in the 80s playing football. But my leg's still attached, so I guess I'm okay.
This reminds me of before the NFL draft last year. Remember, they were like, listen, Roger Goodell just had back surgery. Can you try not to hug him that hard? And then guys are lifting him up, twirling him around in the air, basically doing an ice dancing routine out there.
That was exactly what my experience was on Saturday. It was like, please stay away from me, people. No, let's go. Come on, let's go.
Time to electric slide.
Exactly.
Or whatever. 855-212-4227. Get started, Cowboys fans. Are you appreciating Dak Prescott? Can we get a little Dak Prescott appreciation? And then for the Steeler fans on the other side, is it time to go to Wilson?
Yeah. No, I'd be surprised. If you're a Cowboys fan who appreciates this, because it's not like he's a new guy around the block. Like, hey, this Dak Prescott fella, they've been seeing this for 8 years, Maggie.
Yeah, 855-212-4227. Lots to do. We'll get more into the college football upsets from the weekend. We have the 49ers losing yesterday. We've got my Bills losing yesterday. We've got the Ravens with a big overtime win in Cincinnati. It's all happening. Don't move. More Maggie and Perloff straight ahead. All right, Perloff, great weekend for sports. Great weekend betting-wise for yours truly. And because football season is here and in full swing, Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action while you watch football. So 10 million members, billions of dollars in awarded winnings. You could be next because Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. The app is so simple to use. We download it. You pick 2 or more players across any sport, pick more or less on their projection, and you could win up to 100 times your money. Prize Picks was invented for this time of year. College football, the NFL, and baseball all together.
Although, I think I'm going soccer tonight. I'm on fire, by the way. Thank you, George Pickens, for never catching the ball. Is there any soccer guys over there? Who is Woxic? Woxic. 14.5 map 1 kills under tonight. You can bet soccer all day long, WNBA. This is the best. I decided to do a new sport every day this week because I've been having some success in baseball, believe it or not. You can download the Prize Picks app today and use code MNP and get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5. That's code MNP on Prize Picks to get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Must be present in certain states where it's lawful to wager. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. So the rain came down hard in Pittsburgh. Honestly, I thought some of those shots were fake. It was like a waterfall, and it pushed the game really late. Again, 3 late nights because your stupid Miami team, EJ, just pushed it, playing in the middle of the night all night.
Yep.
Maggie, you nailed it. Saturday was totally chaotic, and yet that chaos has become unpredictable too. I don't feel like there's any safe game in college football either.
Yeah, good luck figuring out who's the best college football team in the country right now.
Well, Texas jumps to mind, but
Okay.
I totally agree. They feel like the only one who hasn't screwed up yet.
It turns out playing Michigan might not be like that amazing of a win because they went and lost in Washington. So
No, I mean, I guess Ohio State and Texas are the lone sort of superpowers, but again, anybody could go down at any time.
Can I let you in on some of my Google searches from over the weekend? I've been to Nashville 3 times in my life. Great for work and for personal, and loved it every time. Had to Google how far from the football stadium to the river down Broadway. Wasn't sure how far you're carrying a goalpost. Turns out it was just a shade under 2 miles.
Yeah, Maggie pulled out a Google Maps before the show.
Like,
we
I
were trying
need
to
a
figure
satellite.
out. We were like, how did this work exactly?
It wasn't the only goalpost that ended up in a river. How about Arkansas?
By the way,
Over Tennessee. Yes.
You remember that kid who came in, Uma? You probably don't remember. But anyway, there's a guy who's friends with a family, who's a freshman at Vanderbilt.
Yes, the trombone player.
Yes. He was live tweeting me. Now we're like best friends. He was live texting me the entire thing. He was right down there. He's the manager of the women's basketball team now, which is legit at Vandy. So that was the most exciting, most unexpected, most exciting thing ever. Like, this does not happen to Vanderbilt. Remember? And of course, Nick Saban was part of this by saying there's only one place that's easy to play in the SEC at Vanderbilt. It was like a storybook. But again, it's one of those things like, in 2024, like, none of the rules apply anymore because if NIL spread out the talent, nothing is predictable. Like, Alabama can beat Georgia in dramatic fashion and turn around and lose. Yeah, of course they can.
What's up with that?
Maybe we should have known this was like a little bit of a trap game. I don't know. They were 22.5 point favorite, but you're right. Not only did Nick Saban make the quip a couple weeks ago that it's, every place in the SEC is tough to play except for Vanderbilt. they actually had that ready to go and were playing it on the Jumbotron as the very orderly students were storming the field.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. First of all, it was definitely a trap game coming off that emotional win. I think Alabama was not ready to go. We're seeing the same thing in the NFL where if teams coming off a blowout look good the next game and teams who come off a blowout, I don't know what's happened. Something in the water.
We'll give our college football report card coming up later in the show. Kalen, DeBoer. Tough game. We'll get to him. Kevin is our pal in San Antonio. Kevin, where were you when Vanderbilt upset Alabama?
Oh my God! I saw that game. But let's start off with the college football. I mean, I saw that game with Vanderbilt and Alabama. I mean, the whole city rocked the house. They partied to the break of dawn. They were partying to the break. I saw that. I was like, what? I was like, it is like the whole city just party. I'm happy. I'm happy that Vanderbilt won. And on the other hand, the Cowboys are living on life support. They don't got no running back. They don't have no running game. All that money went to Dak Prescott. They could have took that money and helped the whole team.
Yeah, well, Prescott, CeeDee Lamb also made a lot of money. Soon they will give that money to Micah Parsons. Kevin, thank you for the phone call. As if you need more excuses to party in Nashville. But yes, that looked amazing. The Cowboys on life support. I mean, again, this is why you're lucky you have Dak Prescott. And that interception, though, to CeeDee Lamb, that was tough. I don't know what was going on between the two of them. Not a lot.
Well, here's the issue. Can they run the ball? Can they stop the run? And I didn't necessarily – they actually looked much better against the run in this one. That's their Achilles heel. So I'm not sure we have an answer to that. This is probably a lazy thing, but they're the same team as last year. Like, what's going to stop like a good team coming into the playoffs and just running all over them? I don't know if they added enough defensive personnel to make up for their Achilles heel. Okay,
but to be fair, I mean, Pittsburgh, definitely a running team.
Yeah, well, except that when you look at the numbers, like Najee Harris does not average a lot on running plays. They're a running quarterback team. Their run game, their running back game is kind of weak. I read that coming into the game. Like, they have not really run the ball well.
I'll tell you what, I don't know how the rest of the season is going to go and what's going to happen as we get into game 15 and 16 and blah, 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 and then the playoffs. But does every team in the NFL, all 31 of them, look stupid for not going after Derrick Henry? I mean, if you're the Cowboys, You're killing yourself. I was thinking about that even with my Bills. I'm like, oh, you got James Cook, but man, would have been cool to have Derrick Henry.
I mean, if you took that long run at the end off of Henry, though, he was not super efficient yesterday.
But you have him. Like, at any moment, you deploy him. Like, you're telling me last night you don't think the Pittsburgh Steelers would have wanted to have Derrick Henry?
I don't know. I'm not sure that Derrick Henry's a game changer for the Steelers because if you were playing against Derrick Henry and the Steelers, you would know the ball is going to Derrick Henry every single time.
A lot of people do, and he's still effective.
He wasn't super effective yesterday until the very, very end.
I know, but that's because other things were working for the Ravens, like 520 yards of offense. Yeah. They didn't have any trouble moving the ball. They just had a couple,
Besides
self-inflicted.
The Cowboys have Hunter Lupke, so like you don't really need anybody else. Who is that guy? Why is he unstoppable? It's just I've been meaning to talk about him all season long. Every game he totally flashes.
How about the other guy who looks like a load? We should start keeping track of these dudes who look like their kitchen equipment. The tight end for the Packers who scored 2 touchdowns.
Kraft, right?
Tucker Kraft.
Yeah, Bogus. This guy is like a square. Yeah. He's got like right angles on his body.
They're just developing different humans now. Like, there are players in both the NFL and college where I look at them and I'm like, you shouldn't be that proportional in that way. Yeah. But you are very athletic, and wow, you're running people over. I wish I could be that athletic.
It's like you're athletic SpongeBob SquarePants. Like, how? I don't get it. But he was really effective yesterday, too. And the Packers go on the road and get a win against the Rams.
I mean, the shell of the Rams. What is that Rams team right now? That is not that stinks for Rams fans because this could be a good team if they're all on the field.
Yeah, you're right. Injuries have gotten to them. 855-212-4227. I think the question also, should Cowboy fans, are you waking up happy today or are you not? Because what Kevin in San Antonio just said, the Cowboys are on life support. Listen, you go on the road, you get a last-second win, literally. Last-second win, 4th and goal. Had to have it. And you get it. If you can't be happy today, you're never going to be happy. Bogusch is here with headlines. Bogusch.
Oh, hey, good morning, everybody. Your headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your family, your phone, your furry friends with life, electronic device, and pet health insurance. So we got Monday morning football in Pittsburgh, a 90-minute weather delay at the start. Then the Cowboys and Steelers took their time playing 4 quarters. Dak Prescott's game-winning 4-yard touchdown pass with 20 seconds left came basically at 1 a.m. Eastern. He got to play hero after 3 giveaways.
You're pissed at yourself, like you said, for the turnovers, for the interceptions. But when I realized I have the ball down 4 with an opportunity to score with enough time, plenty of time, that's all I can ask for.
The Steelers managed just 226 yards of offense against a Cowboy defense with multiple injured studs, like Micah Parsons not playing. The Packers turned that 13-7 hole into a 24-19 win at the Rams. The Broncos snapping an 8-game losing streak to the Raiders, 34-18. And the Jaguars have their first win of the season, 37-34 over the Colts. Cam Little hit a 49-yard field goal with 17 seconds left for those deciding points after his team threw away a 14-point edge. Nonetheless, Trevor Lawrence is finally a winning QB again, so Doug Peterson was asked if this should let Lawrence relax a bit.
Well, I think there's a weight off everybody's shoulders.
Fair. Yeah, fair.
Right?
Yeah.
Not just him. There's a weight off of my shoulders, too. Now you guys can get off my tail for at least a week.
Yeah, I mean, this dude might be fired today if they lose after being up 34-20.
What happens next week if you lose? Like, not so fast here, Doug.
Well, he's got a week. That's all he said.
You're not off the hot seat. You got like one cheek off the hot seat, maybe. Half a butt cheek, not even the full thing.
If NFL, they're one of those teams where if the NFL was only 3 quarters, if that's how long the game was, 45 minutes, the Jags would be unstoppable. They'd have only 1 loss. I mean, they are so shaky. I think we were all watching that game on Sunday being like, all right, this is where the Jags blow it. This is where the Jags blow it. The Colts kind of helped them out a little bit.
Well, but the annoying thing for me is even yesterday there was a lighter 1 o'clock window. I like when you can just lop games off. Like, okay, I don't need to pay attention anymore to that one. And I thought that was one of those games. And then all of a sudden it was like Alec Pierce just running free for touchdowns. And it's a game again.
Trevor Lawrence looks kind of awesome too. I know like we kind of do not say nice things about Trevor Lawrence. Like he's talented. I thought yesterday. I mean he's going against another talented quarterback.
I mean, well, Joe Flacco's got wheels.
Running
for first downs.
That was a great shootout. Yeah, that was a weird window last night because the 2 premier games were in the 1 o'clock window. Why was Houston Buffalo at 1? And also Cincinnati, Baltimore at 1. By far the biggest 2 games.
And neither one of them on NBC last night. I was confused too. It was a weird balance.
Especially with the first week of buys. It's like you had 4 teams on bye this week. So you had a little, it seemed like you could have spread things out if you wanted to.
Yeah, they kept the 4 o'clock window kind of weak. I wonder, baseball, I mean, is that why? I kind of doubt it.
How would the NFL ever even give a second thought to baseball? They crush baseball.
Well, yeah, I mean, and also they stuck poor Tom Brady out in a very hot day in San Francisco, right? Like
Did he melt?
I don't know. Like he's got a lot of makeup stuff going on. He didn't seem happy.
There's a lot of filler.
Plastic.
I mean, that was
the plastic.
That was the 1A Fox game, right? And it just really, I'm like, why didn't they put those other big games? And where was Romo?
Romo was on Rams.
Yeah.
Rams Packers.
All right, explain. We got to call our friend Ani Boza at the NFL office, the broadcasting guy. I actually wanted to text him yesterday. I'm like, dude, you're ruining my day. Like, I need to spread it out.
I'm sure he cares about your day as opposed to the many other responsibilities he has at the NFL.
No, the NFL is very sensitive. Like, one person can call into their office, they will go into full flight panic.
I believe that.
No, totally. I'm not actually making that
Honestly,
up.
the right person
like
sends a tweet, like, we have a 19-game season. I don't know.
I tweeted something at the NFL Network during Jets-Vikings game, and boy, did they address it hardcore. I said there was a roughing the punter that they did not show. And I tweeted, I'm like, how are they not going to show that roughing the punter? That completely changed the game. And then they came back 10 minutes later with a very specific thing, because I know the people at NFL Network follow me on Twitter. I'm taking full credit for that.
Wow. I love that there's like some kind of
I know.
headquarters, brain trust.
I know.
All TVs up on the wall, just like a command center. And someone's like, oh, wait a minute. Hold on.
Perloff's angry.
McLovin sent a tweet.
I guarantee
Get on
you.
that replay.
You guys laugh. I guarantee I will call Charlie Uke today. I guarantee that's what happened. Guarantee. I'm positive.
It's a cool last name.
And I was very, very specific about what happened. And you guys laugh. This one I'm taking full credit for.
Can the Jets look at my tweets? They would have changed their whole freaking game plan. if they may have won the game.
Can you claim to have a direct line to Scott Hansen on Red Zone? No? All right.
What?
Just the command center.
I'm still wondering who's Charlie Uke or Yuck.
Charlie Uke kind of runs the NFL Network production.
You got issue with Charlie? We got issue with Hansen too? What did he do?
I'm saying I'm wondering if Perloff had a direct line to Hansen.
I don't know Hansen. I was I worked with Andrew Siciliano. It's kind of been hard for me to switch red zones. But Hansen does a great job. He does a great job, but I kind of miss Siciliano.
Hansen did not like the way the Bills handled the end of that game. No one did, but he was.
I was wondering if he's a secret Bills fan. I'm like, oh, that kind of anger is only reserved for people who grew up around there. He's got that thick accent, too. I thought it was a little more Cleveland, but maybe it's Buffalo. Where is that dude from?
There definitely was something in that. I don't know if it was personal. I don't know if it
Money on the
was
game.
monetary, but that seemed to irk him more than usual.
Someone had the Bills +1. He's got that, I know, an upstate New York accent. I mean, from the word go.
He was raised in Michigan.
Okay, it's a little Michigan-y too.
Yeah.
Everything up there,
yeah.
long A's. A Maggie.
He did, like many, he did also go to Syracuse. So he could have picked it up there as well.
Yeah, that's usually where people lose their accents because it's all professional broadcasty types. But I think it's, he says fired and tired. That's very Ohio, too, and upstate New York. So, anyway.
Guys, if we redid our postseason home run derby, would this guy be the number one pick?
1-0. Higashioka swings, sends one in the air, deep to left center field. Edman is back at the wall. He will leap. It's going to go! Kyle Higashioka with another postseason home run. His third in 4 games. The Padres with their 5th of the night, and it's 8-1.
What are we doing here? Kyle Higashioka has 3 homers in 4 games. Jesse Ackler called it.
Smalls.
Padres radio. Yes, Fernando Tatis Jr. also had 2 home runs last night. That's good for Manny. For EJ, sorry. San Diego going deep 6 times total, tying the postseason record in a 10-2 romp at Dodger Stadium. That series is 1-1, as is Phillies Mets. Nobody's favorite team rallying from 3-0 in 4-3 holes. They gave up a tying 2-run homer top 9 and then won 7-6 on Nick Castellanos' RBI single bottom 9. The NL series are off today while the Guardians and Yankees go for 2-0 leads on the Tigers and Royals.
You guys are in trouble.
Who's you guys?
You
the rest of us.
3 in that room.
Oh, I'm
It's
sucking
early,
at this.
It's early.
Tatis has 3 home runs already. And
But if they don't get out of that series, then I've been getting out of that series.
Going out of the
You
series.
think they're getting out of that series?
Yeah.
It kind of feels that way.
You know what I was thinking about this weekend? Every single person we've talked about with the Dodgers, they all say the same thing. Like, their pitching is horrendous, and it's like, wow. It doesn't matter if you're like, Jeff Francoeur or if you're Malik B. Everybody knows the issue with the Dodgers, and we're seeing it front and center.
Padres on the loose. Let's go, Goose.
My apologies for taking so long to get to this. Karl Anthony Towns scored 10 points in 15 minutes in his Knicks debut. A 111-109 preseason win in Charlotte. The WNBA semifinals kind enough to open for Karl Anthony Towns' debut. The Sun forcing a 5th and final game, 92-82 over the Lynx. They'll decide that series tomorrow night in Minnesota. With the Liberty waiting in the finals, they knocked off the Aces in their Game 4 in Vegas, 76-62. And just to recap all the poll madness after Saturday's carnage in college football, Texas returns to number 1, now followed by Ohio State and Oregon. Alabama goes from 1st to 7th for losing at Vandy. Guys, back to you.
It sets up the biggest college football weekend of the year to date, which is going to be this weekend coming up.
Wait, does Georgia jump ahead of Alabama? I was actually wondering, so they must be, obviously.
Yes, Georgia is 5.
So how can Georgia be 5 and Alabama be 7?
Because Georgia didn't lose to Vanderbilt.
Facts.
Yeah.
They did lose to Alabama, but they did not lose to Vandy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious how the committee views all that. That'd be interesting. But actually, those teams are getting in. Like Alabama's. I know it's panic time in Alabama. They could have 3 losses, and Alabama's getting in. I'm sorry.
I don't know.
I'm starting to get nervous too.
A little bit. And it's funny, not that Alabama's not going to get in, but EJ and I were talking about this. Of all the years to go to 12 teams, this is the best one, right? Because these losses, you still are keeping hope alive for a great playoff.
Well, I think that a team like Alabama or Georgia is always going to be able to afford 2 losses. So it's almost funny, like you almost avoid the conference title game, then you'll be fine because Alabama's not going to lose 3 times in the SEC, are they?
Well, but don't you want that bye?
And you don't want one of those losses to be Vanderbilt. That's what worries me because they're going to have way tougher games in the schedule.
And Vandy beat Virginia Tech. Like this is a different Vandy year.
Yeah, but my thing is though, just if you have one loss against Vandy and then like another loss against some other powerhouse, you say okay, you can maybe throw away the Vandy loss. But if you're talking about if you lose another close game to LSU or someone like that,
or
like,
if they get worked by a good team,
right?
And you're like, oh, okay, they got hammered by an elite team and they lost to Vandy.
Vandy went to overtime against Missouri. Like this is not as embarrassing.
No. It's embarrassing.
Usual.
There is no sugarcoating this.
Oh, definitely.
The note they won the last 2 games 100-0, and they lost 50 points on Saturday.
But it's clearly like this is not a normal loss to Vanderbilt.
There is no acceptable Alabama loss to Vanderbilt.
I agree with Bogish on this one. And also, it's because the defense looks like trash. That is not a normal Alabama sentiment.
They've put together 6 quarters of horrendous defense.
Yeah.
You go back to the Georgia game, and then 4 quarters of terrible that's as much as their offense looks kind of exciting. That's the one thing about maybe the change from Nick Saban that's a little concerning. Maybe the defense has fallen off a cliff.
I feel like their issue is they're kind of sloppy. Like
I agree with that too.
People are saying that's a trademark of Kalen DeBoer teams. They move so fast that they run into a lot of penalties. So, by the way, Vandy, don't count them out of the playoff either. They have 2 losses, but they'll if they can run this table here, if they can beat Texas, LSU, and Tennessee, they're in.
Wow.
Sounds easy. I'm telling you, Vandy, this
Diego Pavia would win the Heisman if they do all that.
And you can't. I totally disagree with you guys about that. We should put that out. It's like it's a different Vanderbilt team. It's absolutely complete. And also, there's so much parity. I'll do a show bet that Alabama makes the final 12.
Well,
if anybody wants to do that.
Not doing that. But is the poll question like, should Alabama be, what is it? Is there any shame in losing to Vandy? Something like that?
Well, obviously there's shame in losing to Vandy, but this is not a season-ending loss. By the way, the thing about Vandy, they spread out and run that weird option stuff, and Diego Pavia is throwing the ball left, right. Like, that was a fluky offense. And there was a pick 6. Like, I just don't, I'm not seeing panic at Alabama. They still have Ryan Williams and Jalen Milroe.
That defense would worry me. I'm sorry. That's the thing. Offensively, I think they'll be fine. That defense would, because you're going to play some real heavy hitters soon.
You are welcome to weigh in on Alabama at 855-212-4227. Are you concerned, specifically on the defensive side? How you feeling about Kalen DeBoer after this one? Bogish, thanks so much. Coming up, the worst coaching decisions of the weekend, all wrapped up in one nice little bow. Next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
No, Manny, no. That song is only for winners. It's pathetic. That's what it is. Got to pick up Josh Allen's frontal lobe somewhere in Houston Field. Guys, half his brain came out. They're like, nah, he's good. Like, I think he's unconscious. That happened a couple times yesterday, not just the Bills. I feel like there were a few times, even Justin Fields last night, there were a few really big hits, and it's like, what happened to the head trauma part that we were trying to, talk about and get out of the game?
Fields was actually fine. It was just the guy laid off a little bit. He could have murdered Fields right there. But Allen clearly had a concussion. Like, there are a lot of concussion activists who are wondering about that. Not wondering about it.
They should be.
Yeah, that was the NFL is definitely backslid on concussions. There's no doubt about it.
It just doesn't seem like anyone's taking it all that seriously. I know that he ended up going into a blue tent and Mitchell Trubisky takes one snap and hands it off, but I mean, come on. Like,
Well, that's the other thing. Why did the Bills call those pass plays at the end when they had a concussed quarterback?
Who knows? Why did they call any plays to force your opponent to use all of their timeouts when you have 30 seconds left? How about that? Let's try to make it difficult on the other team. Not just hand them where a guy who can't miss a field goal from all over the solar system to give him an opportunity at home to kick the game winner. Maybe that's a possibility. How about when you get an opportunity with a big turnover at the 30? Maybe score a touchdown there. I don't know. These are just things that are going through my head. We'll get to the Bills in a moment. Roy is in Alabama, though, not happy with how the Tide lost to Vanderbilt on Saturday afternoon. Roy, how are you?
I'm doing well. Good morning, and thank you for taking the call. I listen to you guys every morning on the way to work, so I appreciate your show. And Kalen DeBoer obviously doesn't have a problem with offense.
Right.
But if you look at the last 6 quarters that defense played, there's some issues there. I know there's some youth, but it's going to be a true testament of just how good of a complete coach is he. I'm glad we got him. It's hard to follow somebody like Nick Saban. It's kind of like when Spurrier led Florida to all that dominance. Nobody wants to follow the GOAT,
right?
Or nobody wants to follow a legend. But it's time for him to show, hey, can he coach up these younger guys? Because they played the last 2 quarters against Georgia, and then the first the whole game against Vanderbilt, it's kind of like Saban said, they ran through us like bleep through a tin horn. And if they don't fix it, Tennessee's going to have their way with us. There's a lot better offenses, I think, than Vanderbilt coming up on Alabama's schedule. But I have faith in the coach. I think he's a great coach. I think he's a good dude. And I just we'll see what happens from here. It's a turning point, though.
All right, Roy. So not off the Kalen DeBoer. No one's jumping off. You realize very grounded, thoughtful approach to this thing, Roy. I wonder if your fellow Roll Tide fans are going to feel the same way. 60 points, Pearl, over the last 6 quarters that Alabama has given up. That is not the hallmark of what we think of when we think of Alabama.
Well,
What's up with that?
They did lose. They lost Caleb Downs. Like, we knew there was going to be some bumps with the transfer portal. Their offense is awesome, though. So I think they're going to have to win shootouts, and they have the players to do that. I mean, who knew this 17-year-old kid, Brian Williams, was going to come and just change the game? I love this. I mean, I feel like it's the Pac-12 in the SEC. I can't wait to see. I think they could outscore people. I think Milroe's outstanding. I think the offensive line's outstanding. The run game's good. And Ryan Williams is utterly spectacular. So you're right. The defense stinks. They lost some players. That happens.
Well, I don't think that's going to be acceptable to Alabama folk.
Well, I mean, listen, DeBoer got to the final game with a similar formula last year.
Yeah, but not this type of schedule, and not these kind of
opponents. It took Oregon twice last year.
But here's the thing. And those were shootouts that could have gone either way. Here's the thing, though, about I think Alabama fans, you understand if you lose to Georgia. You have Georgia's number, but you would understand you lose to Georgia with a new head coach. You would get that. You lose to Vandy. They didn't have the stadium full. The stadium's under construction. You saw on one side of the end zone, there were no fans there. It's empty. It's like, that's a bummer. And, you're right, Perloff, they might just have to start winning shootouts. But then I get a little worried about Jalen Milroe not making mistakes. It's just like you're talking about with the NFL. You start going on these long, sustained drives, or you're trying to do these long drives, you're going to make more mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't see that blindside guy. That fumble was pretty much changed the game. But long drives, like they scored an average of 14 seconds a drive against Vanderbilt. Like they woke up way too late in that game. The second half, you saw they were cooking on offense. So again,
but they couldn't stop. They couldn't. On defense, it was just like Vandy, third down after third down after third down.
It was actually fourth down. How many
fourth downs?
Yeah, they. I mean, come on. They have a little option quarterback who's running around like crazy on fourth down. This is not. That happens sometimes. It was not like a normal breakdown of defense. I think that Pavia and those guys were just doing weird things. That's my theory.
Bill is in Houston. Loved what he saw from the Texans yesterday, and I get why. Hey, Bill, what's up?
Hey, thanks for taking my call. Appreciate it. It's like a pall has been lifted off the Texans. Hiring of DeMeco Ryans, all the great draft picks. They haven't played their best football by a long shot, but they're 4-1. Josh Allen was off yesterday. He did get concussed, and that was terrible. But the only thing I really wanted to say is the Texans are going with a new logo now, at least for that game. but I'm still putting my logo in the middle of that field as Lovie Smith with that big gray beard, because that's why we have C.J. Stroud. That's why we have him. So I want that big gray beard on the helmets in the center of that field, and we got to pay our homage to Lovie Smith.
Bill, build him a statue, man. Just put the statue right up out in front of the stadium, because he was – listen, I actually thought he was going to give the game away.
Yeah, he's another guy who's holding on to the ball a long time and making a lot of crazy plays that eventually you got to sort of not make those plays. Like, he puts the ball in harm's way a lot.
Well, the fumble, I mean, the Bills should have scored a touchdown there. And then at least you have to force the Texans to score a touchdown to try to beat you instead of just a field goal to try to beat you if the game plays out the same way. But instead, they hold the Bills to a field goal and then punt, field goal, and there you go. Hey, by the way, there was another moment in the game. It was actually in the second quarter where Josh Allen took a major hit. I don't know if the second half of the game was the only really big hit he took. He took another one out of bounds. We kind of see like his head sort of hit, and no one really talked about it. It's just because I went back and watched the game a second time. I was like, oh, maybe that's where it was.
I mean, he was unfortunately playing concussed. I mean, he's in terms of like his quality of play, it just wasn't a Josh Allen.
All right, he was
missing throws.
Horrible before the concussion too. I mean, maybe there's.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think that there was one that happened in the second quarter that no one was talking about, but he was terrible in the first quarter. So.
I think that I think the lack of targets actually showed on Sunday. Like the fact that he does not have the receivers.
And I don't think Davante Adams could be the answer, but they better be on the phone today.
I mean, it's a lot better answer than what they got right now.
Yeah, which is 0. Curtis Samuel, take a seat. 855. See you guys on the phone. Do you want to talk about Bama? 855-212-4227.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Second and 7 at the 41-yard line. 2 wide receivers to the right and 3 to the left. McCaffrey and Ertz next to each other inside the numbers. McCaffrey chip blocks. Jaden loads one up towards the out. He run. He's got him! Touchdown! Touchdown, Washington! Daniels to Brown on a bomb!
They are loving this in Washington, but on the flip side, it could not be worse for the Cleveland Browns. And how many times have we said that? Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff.
Wow.
It takes a lot to get to what feels like rock bottom for Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's just, you just keep mining and going down, 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 I guess until you reach China. I have no idea, but this is a disaster, Perloff, for Deshaun Watson, who is taking all of the slings and arrows here.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously the face of this team, but there's so many other problems. Their defense was terrible against Washington. Set the edge just once a year, and then they cannot run the ball. And that's supposed to be this team's strength, right? Kevin Stefanski's offense starts with the run, and it ain't there. Obviously, Nick Chubb's not there. That hurts. He's practicing. The line is a total disaster. And honestly, Deshaun Watson there's little things that he's not doing right. He's just not getting rid of the ball. But there was a drop by Jeanty that was just like, it deflates the whole team. I mean, his receivers.
One in the end zone, are you talking about?
Yeah. His receivers are so unbelievably awful that it's hard to assign the blame here.
Well, you wonder, are the receivers awful because you can't afford a lot of good receivers because you're paying Deshaun so much
Well,
money?
Amari Cooper's getting a ton of money, and he can't catch a cold.
Well, Listen, I think it starts and ends with Deshaun because he's going to get so much criticism because he's been bad and the contract is so big. I mean, if you want to go by like some of these certain metrics and stuff, like his quarterback rating is a 26. I mean, this is just really, really bad. And it also doesn't feel like, oh, this is just us parachuting in and slicing and dicing the stats to tell us what we want to see, show us what we want to see. He's been bad, Pearl. It's been bad for years.
Well, last week he was good, actually. Like, he had a very high PFF grade.
Against the Raiders, fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, he was good against the Raiders. Honestly, he basically was all completions and drops. That's the name of the game. I get he was bad against Washington, but I watched that game. I watched a lot of that game, and it did feel like there was one guy who had played. It didn't seem like anybody was putting full out effort, especially defensively. Like, what happened?
Well, how about having 2 penalties on the same drive on the defense for too many men in the huddle. And then you had it on the offensive side, too, and it actually disrupted what would have been a fourth down play you were going for, but you couldn't do it because you had too many men in the huddle. I mean, you can't even break the huddle correctly.
Yeah, I mean, they made the playoffs last year, too. That's the incredible thing with Joe Flacco. I think that, I will say this, I think Deshaun, the energy around Deshaun and the controversy about whether they should play him or not, like, it's affecting the whole team. Like, nobody's playing up to their level. And Njoku can't stay healthy. They obviously... You look at this team, like, would they be better if they had Njoku and Nick Chubb out there every week, healthy? Of course they would. But I would switch right now. I'd just try Jameis, just for the sake of change.
Right.
Again, I'm not putting it all on Deshaun, but this seems like an obvious move to make. And if it wasn't for the money, they would have already done it.
Okay, so this has kind of become the new thing. Now everyone is rallying. There's a lot of groundswell. You got to go to Jameis. You got to go to Jameis. But I ask you this. With Deshaun Watson not hurt, you go to Jameis. How do you go back to Deshaun?
It's not like Jameis is going to light the world on fire.
Well, but
and if he does, then that's a good problem to have.
Okay, and I guess then if Jameis got hurt, you'd go back to Deshaun. But wasn't the whole thing about getting Joe Flacco out of town is because Deshaun didn't want a backup quarterback who was breathing down his neck?
Well, yeah,
and I
but
don't remember those reports ever really being refuted.
Well, then again, they did win high-end backup behind him. Jameis is as high-end as you get. The guy threw for 5,000 yards one season.
I guess so, but I just wonder how much power does Deshaun Watson have in this organization because of the contract, everything they gave up, where he can say, you can't bench me. And I think the ownership group doesn't want him benched. And they're the ones who are ultimately going to have the say, for better, for worse, mostly for worse.
I think they will bench him. I think if it doesn't turn around fast, it doesn't matter.
But do you think he's going to get benched before the next game?
No. I think he gets one more game. Also, didn't Stefanski say that yesterday?
Yeah, he did say
for what
exactly
it's worth. But I think they're leaning that way. I know what you're saying, the schedule and how much they're paying him. But I think this is enough is enough. I think they're going to just try a change for change's sake. Sometimes that's all you need.
Okay, but then when do you go? So you don't go back to Deshaun? You do? Like,
I don't know.
You just play this by ear and go by the seat of your pants week to week?
If I tell you Jameis Winston's going into the lineup, do you have any confidence that that's going to last the rest of the season? So that's when Deshaun goes back in.
I'll tell you, I know people are treating Jameis Winston like Joe Montana sitting behind him, and all you have to do is just unleash him. It's like, that's not the Jameis Winston experience, everybody. But the other part is, I would have felt a lot better if they had Joe Flacco back there. And I know Flacco, they lost yesterday against the Jags, but a competent person, I think, can run this offense. You're right. You're saying the receivers are bad, and I understand that, and the offensive line is banged up. But again, that's why Deshaun is a mobile quarterback. You feel good that he can make up for some of those deficiencies. And there's a lot of teams that have guys banged up, and they're finding ways.
I don't know. It feels like a jailbreak every time that he says hike.
Well, they got guys back this week, didn't they, on the offensive line? It was actually, believe it or not, they were more healthy this week.
So they have Philly coming up, who's one of the worst defenses in the league, and then Cincinnati, who's also one of the worst defenses in the league. That gives Winston a shot. I mean, they're both, I think, bottom 10. That gives gives Deshaun a shot to improve. If he can't do it against Philly, then I don't know who else he can beat up.
Nobody. 855-212-4227. It's just the worst possible confluence of events, right? You got Deshaun playing bad. You got the contract, which is a total albatross. And then I only would think this because I've listened to a little Cleveland sports talk radio. I think the fact that other quarterbacks are having success other places is really chapping everybody. Particularly Baker Mayfield, particularly even Joe Flacco. I know they lost yesterday, but I think that part of it is also just really rubbing people the wrong way, especially the Baker thing.
And I think also a lot of people had to hold their nose bringing him in and embracing him because, I know there are a lot of people who cast judgment on Deshaun. A lot of people who cast judgment on the people of Cleveland and Browns fans who embraced him. But there are people who embraced him because they felt like, well, this is my team and I can't leave my team. And they say he's good. We're going all in. So this is my chance at Super Bowl. I'm going to embrace this guy. And then he's giving them nothing.
Yeah, and it's a long-suffering fan base, so you can understand why they would have a little bit of hope. Like, oh, man, it's not perfect. This isn't exactly who I would pick, but I want to see some winning, right?
I feel like we're in Captain Obvious territory. This is not working out the way they designed it.
It is not.
So you're saying when you pay $230 million guaranteed to a quarterback and he stinks, that's bad?
I'm just saying it's a special kind of awful is what I'm saying. It's not just that he's bad. We see quarterbacks that are just bad. This is more than that.
But I think the question is, A, do you bench him, and B, do you cut him this offseason? That's where we're at. The unprecedented cap hit coming. I think that they're going to consider it.
Well, you're definitely drafting a quarterback, right? At the very least.
If you're not going to cut Deshaun, that means you'll have a rookie sitting there with a $72 million backup. Or
so be it. I mean, you're talking about cutting a $72 million quarterback. So
that's what I think you have to watch in Cleveland. Like, is it going to get so bad that they decide to take this crazy cap hit in the offseason and move on? I think they might. I think that's where we're at. And then you're right. They should draft somebody. But if you draft somebody, maybe you get Deshaun out of the building too.
I mean, imagine you get rid of this guy after a couple of years. What you have to think, what a rudderless ship this thing is. You know?
I mean, it's, again, the same old Cleveland Browns. And everybody thinks their GM is really smart, Andrew Berry. So I don't know what something in the water there. They made the playoffs last year, incredibly. I think it's the ownership group, personally.
I also think you'll never see another guaranteed contract again. This is, if Deshaun goes out there and wins Super Bowls and they're great, maybe some other rogue owner says, I'm going to give it a guarantee guy because I want that championship. I think everybody's going to see this as a cautionary tale now, saying don't do it because the Browns are about to take, as you mentioned, a historic cap hit if they do indeed cut him.
Yeah, I mean, the Russell Wilson cap hit was pretty good too. All these contracts have I mean, if the Dolphins have to move on from Tua, that'll be ridiculous too. So I don't know if the guarantee, I think, was a little, my personal opinion, it was a little bit overblown because their signing bonuses are gigantic now. They're getting up to $200 million. You're right. This Deshaun thing, I think the only debate is it's the worst contract ever, right? Isn't that the question?
I see. I think that's Captain Obvious.
Yeah. I think you're right. You're right.
Even Russell, I mean, it's not like this. It's not like this.
Yeah, the Russ one didn't work out. But then again, we signed 5 big ones this offseason. None of them are really working out great.
That's true.
Tua could go down as a bad one.
Definitely, but that just seems a little more run-of-the-mill. It's like you drafted a guy, you paid him, he didn't work out because of concussions. Like, I'm not firing people over that one.
Well. That is not exactly the whole story. It's not like random concussions. You paid him after you knew he was a tiny guy with concussion. So I think there's blame to go there.
Right, but at least it's a football-related thing. You know, it's like this was hazard of the job.
Deshaun's fully a football-related thing. If he was good, nobody would care. Like everything EJ just mentioned about having to hold your nose, they could easily do that if he was winning.
I get it, but it made it. It's part of the story. It will always be part of the story is that they stuck their neck out and gave all this money to a guy who even a month ago has one other person who's coming out and accusing him of the same kind of stuff. So it's like that definitely plays into why this is the worst.
But you will agree if he was awesome and they were winning football, then
we won't be having this conversation.
Browns fans just would not care. You're able to compartmentalize. You have to be a sports fan. So if you want to dig deep into every roster, there's a lot of issues.
Yeah, I mean, some a little more obvious than others, but yes, you're right, and it's terrible. The other thing yesterday, we might not spend a lot of time on it, but you mentioned Tua, and he's probably going to come back, by the way, from his bad concussion because they somehow got out of New England yesterday with a win, and I've seen 1,000 replays of that Jalen Polk touchdown that then got overturned. It looked like a touchdown to me. I don't even know what I'm seeing anymore sometimes. I feel like I'm watching 1,000 replays. This is college and pro, by the way. I'm watching 100 replays from a million different angles. I don't know. How do you know? It's called a touchdown on the field. That should be a touchdown. I felt bad for the Patriots.
I mean, it's the rule. The whole foot has to land in that situation, which I don't understand, too. Sometimes you can put your toes down. Sometimes you can't. By the way, sometimes if you even touch the plant leg of a punter, it's 15 yards, even if it's incidental. Who knows? The Europeans watching this game are mystified. You could tell during the Minnesota Jets game. They're like, wait, what is that rule? And even I'm like, what is that rule?
Chris is our pal in Birmingham. It is one of the big stories of the weekend and of the season. Vanderbilt takes down Alabama. Chris, how you feeling?
I am relaxed. Not stressed out or nothing because what I said I said a local sports in Birmingham and 94.5 Jocks that I said Bama win this. They'll probably win about 18-15 because I feel like I actually said early in the season that Vandy would win at least 6 games this year because they have nothing to lose most of the case, and also it doesn't really affect me because just one game, and even still though, it's just and everybody's just underselling Vandy as if they're just some walkover team. I never did that, so
you were a 22.5 point favorite, so I think that's why people thought you were going to walk over Vandy.
People buy way too much in the betting lines and analytics these days, and actually just look at each team and there's a matter of fact, if you're a smart, competitive college football, NFL football player, NFL fan, you look at every week as just you're 0-0. Don't look at what it was prior.
All right, but Chris, I love it. I love that no one's panicking. That's probably a good and healthy way to be. And thank you for the call. But I'm looking at week 1. Shutout, obviously, of Western Kentucky. I'm looking at week 2, 42-16. Maybe that game was a little closer. The South Florida game. Wisconsin, 42-10, Pearl. And then Georgia, 41-34. And then Vandy, you lose 40-35. It's pretty obvious here what's changed. All of a sudden, your defense is playing good teams, and they're getting scored on.
But you said Vanderbilt wasn't a good team, so.
I don't know. Are they a good team? Well,
I mean, listen, did they miss a short field goal that would have beaten Missouri? So Missouri, it turns out, is not good.
Yeah, Missouri's not good.
But we didn't know that at the time. Vanderbilt should have beaten Missouri, and they did beat Va-Tech, who's actually better, I think, than we thought. So, yeah, I think Vandy's having an up year. We'll see. I think it's going to be an interesting committee. You're going to judge Vanderbilt very much. It's very important, how Vanderbilt does the rest of the season for Alabama.
And I ask you something.
Yeah.
How do you think they're going to do when they play Texas on the 26th?
Alabama?
No, Vandy.
Oh, Vandy. I don't know. Texas is unproven.
Okay.
You think, what do you know about Texas? Well, I mean, we thought Tennessee was unbeatable. They were the number 4 team in the country. Maybe they'll hang in there. Maybe they won't. Do you think Texas is, you really think you understand the Longhorns?
I don't know. I'm curious because you're talking about this is important here for Alabama, how Vanderbilt looks the rest of the way. So they play Kentucky next week, which, by the way, has been no picnic for anybody.
Yeah, that should be 19-16.
And you got Texas coming up, obviously LSU and Tennessee later on in the season.
By the way, the SEC this year, Texas is going to drop one. They definitely will. I don't know to who. I just feel like every game, we kind of knew that Tennessee was in trouble coming in. I heard a bunch of experts say, "Ooh, this is a tough spot." I have no idea how good this SEC is. They had 6 top 10 teams or something. The committee is going to have a really hard time. I think 12. We were worried that 12 was going to feel like not enough or whatever, or too much. It's going to be wild. This is going to be once again a very controversial selection.
There's one team in the SEC that's coming on fast too that I think everybody slept on because they forgot about them after week 1. Texas A&M looks a little different now. Their defense has been great.
Oh, jeez.
Defenses look great. They just mauled Missouri, and they've played great defense. You want to talk about defense? They played great defense all season. Bowling Green, I know they gave up 20 points, but Bowling Green actually lit up Penn State, so that's not a bad offense. That's the most points they've given up all season. They changed quarterbacks. They look a little different now.
Did they go back to Wegman?
Well, they went back to Wegman, but I look at the schedule. You got LSU at home, and then you got Texas at the end of the year.
But don't you feel nervous just saying that about Texas A&M?
I do, but I just think they're a little more mentally tough than they were on the Jimbo. Because I think Jimbo teams, that Notre Dame game, they would be toast. They would. You could have racked off 2 or 3 more losses after that. The fact that they've come back and played so well since then tells me maybe something's different behind Elko.
855-212-4227. So much to get to. Love hearing from the Alabama fans, and everyone's very calm. Very, very calm. All right. I guess this is what all those championships get you, right? A little peace of mind.
I mean,
I'd be worried about the defense, but that's just me.
I think you got 2 Heisman invites. Focus on the positive. I mean, Ryan Williams is just, I don't even understand. How can you be 17 and that good? You're the best player on the field everywhere. He's stunning. I think you're excited about that. I love this new Alabama. Can't stop anyone that have Jalen Milroe and Ryan Williams score 40 points. At least they're fun.
855-212-4227. Lots more to do. You can weigh in on Deshaun Watson. You can weigh in on Alabama. We know we're on in Arkansas. How you guys feeling on this fine Monday? So much to do. Got a lot of happy Texans fans today. It's fine. You deserve it.
Happy at your expense, by the way.
I know. Well, I mean, listen, Bills deserve to lose that game. You got to play smart. And that's something they didn't do. Next, we do something we call the M&P 500. Whose stock is up, whose stock is down after a huge weekend in sports. We get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Manny woke up, felt a change in the air. Reached for his razor, didn't have a care. He shaved it off, that iconic mustache. Now he's just a face, lost in the mass. So Manny, where did you go?
2 minutes remaining.
Without your mustache, we just don't know. Bring back the charm, the style, the flair. Grow it back, Manny, show us you care. Walked through the town, no one said hi. Strangers glanced by, couldn't recognize his upper lip bare, a shocking new sight. The mustache gone, it just isn't right.
Yeah, it's the 6 guard running through the airwaves.
1 minute, 30 seconds remaining.
I tuned in, Maggie and Perloff on the dial, but it's just another show that's missing the style. Got your takes, but they're colder than a winter foul. When I come through, I'ma light it up on your row.
Got a blue filter, thought it'd change my life. Spent some good money, cut the water strife, but now I'm sick. Maggie's got some giant feet, they're the talk of the town. When she walks the sidewalk cracks, she's bringing buildings down. She tried
30 seconds remaining.
taking the victory, man. That's hard to beat.
The M&P 500 on the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, every Monday we do the M&P 500. Whose stock is up, whose stock is down around the sports world. Maggie Gray, why don't you get us started?
All right, I'm going to go with a stock up first, and we have not talked about the Packers very much. They beat a Rams team that's really banged up, but the stock is up on Xavier McKinney. He was a big free agent signing. Sorry to the Giants fans here. Giants gave up on him. Packers sign him, and Perloff, what does he do? He's got to pick an interception in every single game this season. Talk about a free agent signing paying off. McKinney has been fantastic. Packers win. They're going to have to keep pace now with the Vikings. Also, the Lions were on their bye week this week, but the Vikings are the only unbeaten team in the NFL. That's not true. I'm lying about that. Kansas City plays tonight.
Tonight, we'll see.
We'll see.
Yep.
They're one of two unbeaten teams. Big win for the Packers. Huge signing with Xavier McKinney. He's been awesome.
Awesome. I'm going to go to an old take of mine that you scoffed at, rightfully so. The rookie quarterbacks went from awful in week one to all of a sudden they're unstoppable. All three rookies won this weekend. Bo Nix got into it with Sean Payton, but still looked pretty good. Caleb Williams had his best game as a pro, and Jaden Daniels, MVP chance in the background. I mean, he is insane. All of a sudden, it's been a 180, because I will admit, Bo Nix couldn't throw it anywhere week one. He's obviously gotten a little better incrementally.
Well, the Patrick Surtain pick 6 helps too.
Yeah, but Bo Nix is, you could tell, like, the game against the Jets in the rain was one of the worst quarterback performances of all time. He had -7 passing yards at halftime. He's going to be better than that. He's not great yet. Caleb Williams might be great. He was, I think he's losing a lot of shine because of Jaden Daniels being so great. But Caleb Williams has gotten a little bit better every week. Easy opponent this week with the Panthers. But I think Bears fans are thrilled about the way he's playing. And Jaden Daniels, I mean, perfect. What other word can you use to describe him?
He's been unreal. That's a little stock up. Did you even see Bryce Young got into the game? Actually threw a dime. Not bad.
Kind of floated in the air for about 90 seconds.
It was also, I think it was 35-10.
Canales said he played great, too. He loved it.
Who said he played great?
Canales.
Sure. Stock down. Antonio Pierce. This has been a tough week. Raiders head coach. Get into the social media gaffe, which we talked a lot about last week with Davante Adams. He wants out. Then he gets a show cause penalty from the scandal going back to Arizona State. And then the team goes out and loses to Bo Nix. And Bo Nix is getting into it on the sideline. And the Raiders were terrible yesterday. So tough week for the head coach.
Yeah, I mean, that team stinks.
Yeah.
I actually thought when Brock Bowers scored an early touchdown that maybe they were, if they had gone to 3-2, I would have said right now that he is the coach of the year, because that roster is awful.
I mean, Gardner Minshew benched for Aiden O'Connell for the Raiders, and then there is social media evidence of Gardner Minshew picking his nose and eating the booger. Back to you, Perloff.
Okay, my worst.
Tough break.
My stock down is I'm going to put these three entities together: ESPN, the Los Angeles Lakers, and the James family. Because there was a headline this weekend that said, it was basically Saturday morning, Bronny's disruptive D touted in preseason debut.
I saw that.
That is the ultimate, basically, you have to meet this girl. She has a great personality. You are touting Bronny's D. He was 1 for 6 in his preseason debut, and you're putting a headline about how his disruptive D was good in a preseason game? Is that how desperate we are to find something positive about this kid? It is like, if he goes 1 for 23 in a game and like his guy only scores 26 points, are we going to say, good job, Bronny? This is the ultimate participation trophy NBA player of all time. It's like everything that's
respect too.
Yeah, everything that's wrong with the entire sports generation is summed up in that headline. This is the ultimate. Oh God, my son's in the league. Like, come on. I was actually excited for Bronny. Now I'm dreading this experiment.
We're trying to tell you.
Pearl, if you were like, come on, it's a feel-good story, we're like, this is insanity.
Well, I just think ESPN and JJ Redick and everybody can't try and make it something it's not. Just like, get the moment, and then let's see the alley-oop, and let's go. Move on, put him in the G League.
Bogus.
No.
Stormed in like the Kool-Aid man.
I don't know what this is. Up, down, left, right. You
Yeah,
spent
it was
the
in
summer
the-
telling us, I can't wait to see them play together. And
Yes.
now you're mad at headlines, but you were making headlines the whole time.
Well, I
You're
want to
part
see.
of the problem.
I want to see the play, but don't tell me Bronny's good.
You did.
I mean,
We've been telling you
I
this
never
belong
said
in the
he was-
NBA. You're like, I can't wait until October. Get me
Yeah.
that first game.
get me the first game. But now it looks like I even get the sense that they might not send him to the G League, even though they've kind of waffled on that.
I think at one point where you said this is Ken Griffey Jr., Ken Griffey Sr.,
Yes.
didn't we love that moment?
Yes.
Why shouldn't we love this moment?
I'm
It's
still
because
gonna-
he's not Ken Griffey Jr.
I'm still going to enjoy the moment, but wait, you guys do want to see the play, right?
No. Don't care.
Well, you got to do the play and then just move them right down to the G League.
I know, but see, that's the thing. The thing about Ken Griffey Jr. and Sr. together was like Ken Griffey Sr. had an incredible baseball career, and then Jr.'s the phenom, #1 overall pick. You knew he was going to be great. This is a special moment. You just said it yourself. This is a manufactured moment. Bronny doesn't belong in the NBA, so they're going to sell us this manufactured moment. Like the Griffies, both of those guys deserve to be on the field. Bronny doesn't deserve to be on
Well,
the
Ken
court.
was pretty old at that point.
Okay, well,
Right, but
whatever. Big Red Machine.
But it's okay if the dad's hanging on to play with the stud teenager. The dad is still the best player in this dynamic right now.
All right. You guys are going to cry when it happens.
Nope.
Yes, you are.
I'm not.
You're going to tear up. There's going to be music in the background.
Why? Because there's like dust in the air? What are we going to be
It's gonna
crying
be
about?
emotional.
Because why? Because nothing ever breaks right for the James family? Like they finally catch a break? What are you talking about?
You suck, Bogus.
I'll also point out that I'll be asleep when this happens.
Could I
super
maybe
late at
sing a
night.
song that maybe will evoke some emotion? The cat's in the cradle and a silver spoon. Little boy, something, 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 something.
The man on the moon.
Yeah. When you're coming home, Dad, I don't know when, but we'll get together then. Andrew Bogus. We'll get together then,
I
little
know.
Bogues.
This is a real classic tale.
Yeah.
Classic American tale. The guy becomes the second greatest basketball player of all time and then pulls his strings
Dad,
to get
Wanna
his
have a-
less talented kid into the league.
Dad, want to have a catch? Want to throw me an alley-oop? Aren't you guys sucker for father-son moments?
Yeah, aren't you also? Who are you rooting for next? The Murdochs? Like, you want more nepo? Guys getting opportunities they don't deserve.
Oh my
This is what we're
God.
celebrating?
Can't you guys? Oh, well, now I'm back on Bronny's headline because of this attitude. Nepo.
I mean, you didn't. I mean, I'm sorry. I was on social. You didn't roll your eyes when you saw those pictures of LeBron sitting on the bench with Bronny was like 2 or 3, and then
Look at
showing
this
him on the
kid.
bench with him. Today, I'm just like, why should I care about this? I really asked myself that question. I was like, wait a minute, this has nothing to do with me. Like, this is nice for LeBron, I guess, but like the NBA and ESPN they're trying to force us to feel good about this, and I think that's what's making it worse. Like, just have them playing.
I have a source close to a source in L.A. who said that there's a rumor that Bronny is just not that good. Yeah, facts.
Double sourced. So a source close to a source.
Yeah, no, I totally just want to see the play. Can't you guys just have fun? And the Nepo thing, by the way, I saw a headline. Have you guys noticed one thing? You don't like nepotism in sports, right?
Well, I feel like we see it in other places like business world, and that I almost understand because I don't know if the son's a total screw up or if he's good. In sports, I've got the proof is in the game.
The NFL coaches' sons are dominating this season. Like, all of a sudden, Clint Kubiak's good. Like, it's weird. It's been the return of the Nepo babies in football. That's one of the big headlines. So maybe it works. Maybe this is going to work. All right, fine. Then
Or
Bronny,
Steve Belichick.
Bronny, D him up, Bronny. D him up, Bronny. Steve Belichick, isn't he at Washington or somewhere?
Yeah.
Where is,
He's Washington, D.C.
Sorry, big win.
They won.
Yeah, big win over Michigan. Get a little revenge over the national championship. A little late. Stock up on Ashton Jeanty from Boise. Tony is calling from Boise to gloat. Dude's fun to watch, Tony.
Yeah, he's pretty much unstoppable, isn't he?
Pretty much. He's also the front runner now for the Heisman. Odds changed.
Oh well, it's. I mean, he reminds me of Barry Sanders back in the day. But I mean, he doesn't really juke or jive. He
Yeah.
just runs through the people.
I was going to say a little less Barry. Who's his doppelganger?
I mean, he's small.
yeah,
he's small
I'm
like Barry.
thinking
I like that.
The Bears. What was his name?
Walter Payton?
Yeah, Walter Payton. So he's like a mix.
Between Barry and Walter Payton, Tony, I love it. I'm going to keep noodling on that while Bogusch has headlines for us.
What about a little Damian Tomlinson? That's what I see.
I feel like he's bruisey. He
Damian
hits
Tomlinson,
harder.
he used to crush people with his stiff arm. Like,
LT?
actually,
Yeah.
his stiff arm was before Derrick Henry. It was the LT stiff arm.
Yeah.
I was reading about Jeanty, why he didn't go to UT or something. Like everyone thought he was too small.
Really?
Yeah. So yeah, I think, but he's big. Like nobody can tackle him. I love a small running back. Yeah, I can't wait. I want him on my NFL team too.
I wonder if he's actually going to win the Heisman. This would be something, obviously.
I think he's got a great shot because as we're seeing in college football, all these big time teams are losing. So these guys. So if you love Cam Ward, wait till next week or 2 weeks from now. If you love any of these guys,
yeah, if you love the Colorado guys, they're
you
definitely
love the Colorado guys. You know they're getting some L's. So like it's just, and it looks like Boise might be able to run the table here, and he's not going to have any harder games. Like he's averaging 10 yards a carry right now. That's not going to go down.
Yeah.
So
Milroe's going to have some good stats this year.
Yeah.
With Kalen DeBoer. But again, you don't win the Heisman in October, even if you're a running back. There's been rather like Fournette was 200 yards a game through September and October. So we'll see.
Man, I'm just trying to think of, I got to do a little research here about players who have won the award from small schools. Let's get to Bogusch and his headlines. Hello.
These headlines are sponsored by Prize Picks. Football season's here, and Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. Download Prize Picks, use code M&P, and get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details. So we had a 90-minute weather delay before Sunday Night Football in Pittsburgh, and we had a 12-minute idiot delay during the 7th inning in L.A. because Dodger fans were throwing baseballs and beer cans and other things at the Padres. Manager Mike Schilt proud of the way his guys handled themselves.
Hostile environment. What I got out of it was a bunch of dudes that showed up in front of a big hostile crowd with stuff being thrown at them and said, we're going to talk with our play. We ain't going to back down. We're going to elevate our game. We're going to be together. And we're going to take care of business.
And they hit 6 home runs, tying the postseason record. And Darvish allowed just 1 run over 7 for a 10-2 series-tying rout in Game 2. Padres left fielder Jurickson Profar, one of the targets of the thrown objects, partly because of this.
Is lifted in the air to left field. It sends Profar back, tiptoeing to the corner. He's at the wall. It is... Nobody's sure yet. Now they say
he caught it.
He caught it. Mookie Betts is rounding the bases thinking that it's a home run. Jurickson Profar says, I got it.
Joe Davis, John Smoltz, the Fox graphics crew, the stadium operators who began their home run lights and celebrations, all duped by Profar, who reached into the left field stands, took the homer away, but instead of showing the ball to anybody that mattered, he turned his back to the field and talked smack to the fans in the left field corner for, I don't know, a good 10 seconds.
That's why when the manager said we talked with our play, I'm like, Profar was talking a lot to the crowd. Tatis was on the front step, just giving it to the fans pretty much the whole game.
I like that he was talking trash to the fans, but I felt it was a little cruel to the hitter. Like a fellow professional hitter, that guy thought he had a home run, got around second. But isn't that, like, would you throw it Profar after that if you were the Dodgers? I guess maybe not in the playoffs. That's a little rude to do the other. That's another professional batter who thought he had a home run in the playoffs, and you totally juked him out.
Man, forget that. If I was Jurickson Profar, I would have ran that ball right back to the pitcher's mound. Nobody would have known. I would have had that sucker right in my glove the entire time, and I would have handed it right back to you, Darvish. Here you go, buddy. I got you.
The Phillies and Mets uninterrupted in Game 2 in Philly, a 7-6 thriller won by the home team to even that series as well. Nick Castellanos, a game-ending RBI single after his team erased 3-0 in 4-3 holes, then wasted a 6-4 edge. Both NL series resume tomorrow. The ALDSs have the stage today. The Guardians go for a 2-0 lead on the Tigers. Then the Yankees go for a 2-0 lead on the Royals. Now all the way back to Pittsburgh. Once Mother Nature let them play, the Steelers fought their way to a 17-13 lead late on the Cowboys. But Dak Prescott threw a touchdown pass with 20 seconds left for a 2017 W. 2 plays before that, Mike Tomlin's defense forced a fumble at the goal line, but didn't recover it.
There's a fine line between drinking wine and squashing grapes in our business, and, that's an example of it. That ball's on the ground right there in the red area, and that's the difference.
He's the best. Both his teams,
I don't know
though.
if anyone would ever describe anything that Pittsburgh's doing on offense as fine wine. No way.
Both these teams are 3-2, as are the Bears after beating up the Panthers 36-10. Caleb Williams, 304 yards, 2 scores, both to former Panther DJ Moore. The Vikings 5-0, barely a 23-17 escape from London over the Jets. And the Commanders are 4-1 after dismissing the Browns 34-13. This is Washington's best start since 2008. No three-peat for the Las Vegas Aces. They lost Game 4 at home to the Liberty, 76-62. So New York returns to the finals instead. Game 1's in Brooklyn on Thursday against the Sun or the Lynx. Connecticut forcing a Game 5 yesterday, 92-82. They play tomorrow night in Minnesota. Guys, back to you.
Bogusch, thank you so much. See you guys on the phones. We'll get to some of the boneheaded decisions that we heard and saw yesterday, Saturday. A real, not a lot of Fulbright scholars roaming the sidelines with college football in the NFL. We'll get to that next. Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Your heart's in your hand. Peter Bellotti, he made a prediction.
Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
He's got the road trip blues.
And your Bogusch high on display. Lost in the way. Lost in the way.
Glorious lad. He's on the chat, tuning in. Where it's at, Infinity Sports Radio, playing all morning. Dancing to the beat, feeling so right. The tapes are loud, his speakers blast. He's a Twitch viewer, having a blast. The ball of his spin and the crowd going wild. Glorious man, just feeling so alive. Radio.
Moist pork so delicious. Fashion icon, always ambitious. Rocking the threads, fresh and clean. Styling on the scene, living the dream. Loves Twitch, not YouTube. Always dancing, never in the mood. Live streaming with 1 million views. Sipping on success and paying his dues. Loves Baltimore, city of his heart.
Otis Miller, Andrew Bogusch, lost in the fog golf. Bogusch can't see his way. People at his voice in his ears. Everyday time. Andrew Bogusch, lost in the fog golf. Andrew Bogusch, lost in the fog golf. Bogusch can't see his way. People at his voice in his ears. Every day, Tom Brady's glory. It's all too much. Andrew Bogusch needs a break. Bogusch has had enough of Pete. Freedom from Bellotti. That's what Bogusch needs. People he won't leave alone. His voice keeps ringing in his headphones.
1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Manny, your upbeat club music is not going to make me happy today. Nothing will. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. I'm happy to be here with you guys, but just disgusted in how my football team, the Buffalo Bills, finished out a really tough game against the Houston Texans, Pearl, because they played awful. The Bills were terrible in the first half, getting down again. This looked like a redo of the Ravens game. And they just could not make a play. Allen was off. All the receivers. I mean, credit to the Houston defense. They were good. But you get yourself back in the game, right? And this is the NFL. And you get yourself back in the game where all of a sudden now you've got a tie game. Improbably, you've got a tie game, okay? After you kick a field goal, after the Texans fumble, you get the ball back. You absolutely should have punched in a touchdown there. But again, the Bills' offense was bad. Josh Allen seemed like he was concussed, yet back out on the field. So then you trade. You're able to hold the Texans to a punt.
Yeah, because the Texans screwed that up.
So the Texans, I was saying, this was not Mensa on the sidelines here yesterday on either side of this thing. And so the Texans are basically giving the game away. But because of an amazing punt that lands at the 3-yard line, the Bills are backed up all the way right at their own end zone, okay? Houston has 3 timeouts, and it's a tie game. Are we all together now on this one? So what do you do if you're the Bills? You run the football, right? You force the other team to use their timeouts. So even if you don't get the first down, you get a little more space for your punter, and you hope that you're punting the ball away to a team that's going to have about 20 seconds left with no timeouts. What did the Bills do? They threw the ball 3 straight times and then had their punter with their heels Perloff on the back of the end zone, forced to make this crazy punt, and then had a timeout. To take a timeout with 2 seconds left, and then their automatic kicker, Kaimi Fairbairn, who's going to probably end up in the freaking Hall of Fame one day, hits a 59-yarder. Bills lose right at double zeros, triple zeros, whatever. Just brutal coaching. And I'm just wondering, last week I said I was disappointed in the Bills coaching because of this ill-advised trick play that they ran right as they were getting the momentum back. You felt like this was another thing. They were wrestling the momentum back from the Houston Texans. They had the momentum when they forced the C.J. Stroud fumble, and the offense can't capitalize. Just a brutal way to lose.
So they're going to win this division again for what? Is this be the
you
6th?
Sure about that? They're playing the Jets on Monday night. That's a huge game.
It'll be how many years in a row have they run it?
This is 5.
So And I think the division's down in a unique way this year again.
You still have Rodgers, though.
I mean, limping Rodgers.
No, I know. We'll talk about that game.
But they're definitely this team, they're not making any noise in the postseason, Maggie. They might play the Chiefs close, but this is, at a certain point, you kind of want to rip the Band-Aid last year. I think this was, in a way, a good thing for the Bills because this put McDermott on this under the spotlight.
He should be.
But so I think that your normal 11-6 lose in the first round, it's going to look a little different. I think people are going to look back at this game and say, well, what are we doing here?
Thank you. This is why I wanted them to go after Jim Harbaugh so badly, and they blew that.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure Harbaugh with this roster. The other thing, too, is they're definitely not built exactly the right way. Like, these receivers stink.
Thank you. It turns out it was fool's gold the first 3 games.
Well, I would say that.
First of all, they should have lost to the Cardinals, number one. They should have absolutely lost that opener.
Well, they should have won that game handily. I mean, I don't think the Cardinals got a first down for 30-minute swaths of the game.
No, but the Cardinals got hosed on a bad call at the end. They should have gotten a pass interference.
But the Bills should have put that game away easily. And then they haven't been really that close in the other games. Except for
Miami is bad and Jacksonville is bad.
Yeah, but then again, Miami's going to be bad all year. I think the Patriots are the worst team in the league. And I think the Jets are very vulnerable.
We'll talk about the Jets in a minute because you are concerned about Rodgers is definitely limping.
So it's going to be the same movie again. It's going to be 11-6 and a divisional game. There's no way this team. I don't know how they get over the top, and that's got to be the only goal when you have Josh Allen. Definitely. And they just feel like if they won that game and went to 4-1, then maybe I could squint and see it. But this was a big, big loss.
Thank you, Pearl. It was. Lou's in Rochester. Probably feeling the same way that we are this morning. Disappointed. What's up, Lou?
Hey, Maggie. Listen, Sean McDermott is a real problem.
Yeah.
He's not a good head coach. He implodes under game situations. The best implosion was he's now Mr. 13-second man, where he botched that game that likely would have led them to the Super Bowl in Kansas City. He held on to the lead. But he had zero offensive value to the team.
Well, that's not his thing, though.
What's that?
It's not his thing. You know, he's the defensive guy.
Yeah, but then why is he a coach?
Well,
Lou, I'm with you. Coach?
So here's the thing about McDermott, right? This is what's tough about it. And people who watch the Bills closely understand this. You got to give him credit for what he does with the defense because these are a bunch of dudes who the casual fan, Lou, is not going to know a lot of these guys. Maybe the first-round picks, I mean, DeMar Hamlin because of the unfortunate thing that happened with Cincinnati, but this is not he is coaching up the defense to a point where they are playing over their skis right now. That has been a positive. But this is the gripe with McDermott. He has nothing to do with the offense, which is some coaches do, Perloff, some coaches don't. I don't love it. But if you're not going to have a say in how the offense is or running plays, you at least have to have an awareness of what's going on the field when you're on offense. And when you have that situation yesterday, Josh Allen banged up, you're backed up against your own end zone, you got 25 seconds left, you've got to be the head coach there and be like, are we going to be smart or are we going to be dumb? Because you might not call the plays, and that's fine offensively, Pearl. But if you're doing dumb things, then that has to reflect on the head coach. And the other thing about Sean McDermott, he gets tight in big games, and that's been the big gripe with Bills fans for a long time. The closer the game in the playoffs, he gets tight, and that's been an issue. But can't you blame the head coach for when the team does dumb things?
Oh yeah, but you're going to give him credit for hiring Joe Brady's good though. I mean, it was brilliant They basically have made up for an aging roster by running the ball a lot, and that was smart. I mean, they've won since Brady took over, what's their record? I think it's they have 3 losses now.
Right, but he also was the one who hired Dorsey. So it's and you had Joe Brady there as the quarterback coach, and then he steps in, and that's fine, but he also rode too long with Dorsey.
Yeah,
after
but
Dayball left.
Brady's a much better match with McDermott because McDermott, ball control helps his defense a little bit. You're right. I was actually wondering watching that game, who are these DBs?
I mean,
they're young.
It's
also Josh Allen 9 for 30.
Yeah,
I think that's I saw a stat for 30 attempts. That's the worst completion percentage maybe in the history of the league.
He was off, but the receivers weren't helping him either. And they were going back to relying on, trying to get these explosive plays when it was not there. It was not this run the offense kind of thing, the crossing routes and, confusing the defense and finding guys. And, instead you had drops, you had, ill-advised, explosive, taking chances. Where's Dalton Kincaid? Is Curtis Samuel even getting a paycheck? What's he doing out there?
Here's a stat. Josh Allen was pressured on 16 dropbacks. He finished 1 for 14 for 24 yards on those.
The offensive line was bad too. Thank you for reminding me.
Well, I mean, usually Josh Allen's much better against pressure. That's his thing. Like, he finds a way. He wasn't finding anything. He ran a little bit yesterday. Once again, too, they need his legs way too much, which makes him vulnerable.
I know. This is the hero ball stuff.
Yeah,
Credit to DeMeco Ryans. Allen was I think he was confused. And then he had a couple drops, too. And maybe his frontal lobe is somewhere in the Houston.
I think we also learned Khalil Shakir is way more important to that offense than I think even I realized.
Oh, you need him. This is like when they had Cole Beasley a few years ago. You need that security blanket slot for, third and medium guy. Yeah, Khalil Shakir the whole season is resting on this dude. What are we doing? 855-212-4227. But no, Sean McDermott has to wear that. Last night, Cowboys, Steelers to the final second.
Maggie and Perloff, never off track. He's cheering for Vegas all season long, but there's a twist in this song that's gone wrong. Oh, Peter Bellotti, where did you go? You're like a ghost in the studio. Artie's here cheering, all Raiders pride, but Peter's missing again. He's denied. Just win, baby, like Al Davis said. But Peter Bellotti's still stuck in bed. Maggie and Perloff, they're holding the fort, while Peter's clocking 0 in the attendance report. Oh, Peter Bellotti, where did you go? You're like a ghost in the studio. Body's here cheering, all Raiders pride, but Peter's missing again. He's denied. Never misses a beat, but Bellotti's at home with the slippers on his feet. The Raiders may lose, or maybe they'll win, but where in the world has Bellotti been? Oh, Peter Bellotti, where did you go? You're like a ghost in the studio. Body's watching, hoping you'll stay, but Peter's off missing in action today. Screams, just win, baby, like Al Davis said. But Peter Bellotti's still stuck in bed. Maggie and Perloff, they're holding the fort, while Peter's clocking 0 in the attendance report. Marty's faithful, never misses a beat, but Bellotti's at home with his slippers on his feet. The Raiders may lose, or maybe they'll win, but where in the world has Bellotti been? Oh, Peter
1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
For the ball game, 4th and goal. Prescott in the gun, snap is back. He has some time. He throws it in the end zone. It's a touchdown to Jalen Tolbert on the left side of the end zone, crossing in front of Deshaun Elliott with 20 seconds to play. Goodness gracious me.
Wee hours of the morning, Cowboys radio network calling the literal last-second play, Pearl, 4th and goal. Steelers had a chance at the very, very end, but it was really, really nothing. And this was a Cowboys win that was gritty because this was no beauty of a game. That's for sure.
They fumbled it in the last minute there at the goal line. It could have been a tragic, tragic loss. Man, they needed this so bad, too, because their schedule is insanely tough. Here's the key game, I think, is can they hold off Washington? Washington looks like the class of the NFC East with Dallas, I think, behind them. But we haven't seen Washington play anyone real. So Dallas is going to have these games against Washington. But Washington plays all these chippies all year long. They might build up enough lead where they can lose twice to Dallas and still win the division. So now it's actually a really important win for Dallas. If they'd come away with this 2 for 3, they go to Detroit and San Francisco next. It would have been bad news.
Yeah, listen, the Commanders did beat the Bengals in Cincinnati, so to say they haven't beaten anybody, yeah, they looked good against the Cleveland Browns, but they, we'll see. I know there's little Arizona Cardinals there, but the Cardinals beat the 49ers yesterday, so yeah, this was a big game, a huge game for the Dallas Cowboys, and it was a weird game because the game gets delayed an hour and a half because of weather, just thunderstorms, lightning, the whole deal. They come out, and it didn't look great. Dak Prescott turning the ball over. You want to talk about a team that looked like they didn't have enough weapons. Clearly, that was the Cowboys because it was like Dak and CD not on the same page. Who else are you going to? But they got the run game going a little bit, and then this is what you want from your quarterback. You got under 2 minutes left to go. You've got the ball. You're down 4. You need a touchdown, and somehow this guy finds a way to get it done. And to be fair to Tolbert, who catches that game-winning touchdown, he had left the game just a snap earlier because it seemed like his shoulder was out of the socket, but because both teams called timeout, it got a couple extra seconds to collect himself, if you will.
I saw another description of what happened to him.
Oh, was that not a shoulder?
I don't know.
It looked like his shoulder.
There was a quote after the game that someone said he broke his man parts, but maybe that was a euphemism that I don't even understand. At some point, I think he took a groin shot as well. But you're right. No, Tolbert looked hurt, and that's a big deal.
He took himself off the field.
Yeah,
that's
rare. Find that quote from Tyler Smith if you can. Maybe it was a euphemism, but he said basically he got his man parts into a bunch.
Oof. Sounds painful.
Then again, they need Tolbert so badly because Brandon Cooks was not on the field and is not really that good anyway. They're lacking a big-time receiving target, almost as if they should trade for one.
Well,
maybe a tall guy.
Why
is it not going to happen? They need Davante Adams so badly because they're having to win all these close games. They need something.
Well, they said they can't afford him. And it's weird to think about the Cowboys I mean, if you can't afford a rental like this or Derrick Henry or whatever, can't we just call this what it is? You've mismanaged your cap. That's what you've done. So it's not like, oh, gosh, we can't afford him. Like, you're to blame, aren't you? Because the Dak Prescott extension and the CeeDee Lamb extensions, these don't kick in this year. That's for next season. That's not for this season. Anyway, this was massive. And here's the thing about the Cowboys. This is when you're happy that Dak Prescott is your quarterback. $60 million, this is when you're happy about it. Yes, bro.
We found the Tyler Swift quote.
It's
too dirty.
Oh, you found that.
Wait, can you read it, EJ? I don't want to have anything to do with this.
I was going to say, I don't know if I could even read this, but I will
You can't spell it either.
No.
Just bleep it.
So on the touchdown winning pass, Tyler Smith said, quote, "Bro, it was miraculous. JT literally sprained his bleeping bleeps." Excuse me. Sorry, guys. Sprained his bleeps during the play before.
Oh, so he said, excuse me about the curse word?
I think we could say that word, EJ.
No, it's a body part. No, you can't say that one.
You can't say that word?
No, not if you're referring to it. Like if I'm saying, hey, I love eating nuts at the ball game, that's different than this.
Okay.
Wait. I totally disagree. There's no
Manny.
Wait, Manny, we can't say that word?
No, definitely not.
I have some almond nuts.
He can say it. That's fine.
I mean, what if you're talking about a peanut allergy?
What if you're talking about wiffle ball bat to the...
No, you can't do that.
Okay. Listen, I trust you guys. We all get it.
Wait, so you guys never seen the SNL CeeLo Green about the cat? And he's like, I don't even want to go down there. But anyway, he says
you
that
open this door and
he
now
says
you want to shut it.
The other word for a cat.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, so you mean actual cat? He's like, yeah. Or maybe.
Oh,
I
gotta tell you right now, I disagree with you on that word because you can say anything nowadays, and I think that word is way down the list.
No. I'm sorry, Pearl. You can only say anything if you are a quarterback who just pulled off an upset or erased a 35-point deficit in college.
Yes.
If you are Diego Pavia, you can say whatever you want. If you're Cam Ward, you can say whatever you want. Maybe not Tyler Smith.
What do you think? This feels like an okay word to me.
I don't know where the line is. I've almost gotten us fined by the FCC many times.
My understanding is the body parts that are graphic in nature, you can't do.
Why don't you just say the anatomically correct word?
Yeah, that's even worse. I hate that word.
Actually, you might be
that
able
is
to say
the
it, to
worst
be honest,
word
but
in American language.
Well, the reason why I don't want to say it is because then Manny will clip it, and then you're going to hear me say this word 100 times every morning. That's why I'm not saying. It's going to get in the system, and then all the Odyssey stations are going to be able to say it.
By the way, I'm expecting a text from Pete Bellotti in 10 seconds about don't say it.
At least I didn't spell it.
By the way, this is such a wonderful quote, too. He goes, "Bro, it was miraculous. JT literally sprained his bleep and bleeps. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. Sprained." It's just bro, it was miraculous. That's a way to describe a guy got hit in the groin and came back on the field. Bro, it was a miracle of all miracles.
That quote is nuts.
Game-winning touchdown. There you go. And Dallas.
Miracles come in all forms. Jalen Tolbert coming back into the game. Yes. By the way, this is the thinnest win I've ever seen. Not only Jalen Tolbert caught the ball, and if you're not seeing it, he was barely over the goal line. It was 4th down. They'd already blown a bunch of chances. This easily could have gone. It was a coin flip game.
Can I tell you how much I appreciate that, too? Because how often do you see teams making a boneheaded mistake where you throw in front of the sticks?
Yeah.
Or something like that. At least he was in the end zone. And it was good coverage, too, but obviously not good enough. So
I worry about the Cowboys, though, because it seems like they're going to have to win a lot of close games. They beat the Giants 20-15. Last year they were able to blow out teams, and Dak was throwing for 380 yards. That offense doesn't seem like it's here anymore, which makes me nervous. They're going to have to win a lot of close games.
You know, it's funny. I actually think the offense isn't the same, and the defense is not the same.
Wow.
Remember, the defense was staking to them some leads as well.
Wow, with injuries now.
Yep. No, no Micah Parsons, no DeMarcus Lawrence. Stepped up, though, with the guys who were left on the field because they lost Nealand, right?
Marshawn Nealand, yeah.
In the first quarter. And Demarion Overshawn really stepped up, and you did have guys who stepped up yesterday for the Cowboys. And so I think you guys, if you're a Cowboy fan, thankful for Dak Prescott this morning because we watched all over the NFL and guys couldn't make that play yesterday. And Dak Prescott did when it counted. It's not like he had this great game. He turned the ball over. It was a slog. But when it mattered, they did get it done. And then if I'm the Steelers, I'm just not feeling all that great about Justin Fields right now. It's not that he was so bad, Pearl. It's just I kind of want to see what it looks like now with Russ. I'm officially Russ curious.
So you'd like to have more than 3 points at halftime just once in your life? I mean, this offense is terrible. Justin Fields still holds on to the ball too long. He did not have a good game yesterday, but I think they thought they want to be here. Collinsworth and Tirico were talking about a lot. This is where Mike Tomlin wants to be. He wants a 17-13 lead with 4 minutes left in the game, and they just missed this Sunday night. But I think this is by design. I don't even think it's the quarterback. I'll bet you Russ, it looks very similar because it looked similar the year before.
Yeah.
That's what they do. Tomlin's way too conservative. I almost feel like you got to get back in the draft and try and go back to the glory days of Big Ben.
Well, I think that's very obvious. They don't have enough weapons either. It feels like nobody does. And, that was the thing about the Steelers. They used to have great wide receivers, or ones that look great. And now you got Pickens, who was a non-factor basically yesterday, and Freiermuth, and that's about it.
Well, they had great wide receivers, but those receivers weren't great when they left Pittsburgh. I mean, Ben would hit him between the numbers. What did Santonio Holmes do?
Oh, I know, but if Plaxico Burress doesn't shoot himself in a nightclub with his gun in his bandana, and his sweatpants, I mean, he caught one of the biggest touchdowns in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, what
upset
about
of the undefeated Patriots?
There have been a lot. Like, there's a rule: do not sign a former Pittsburgh guy because usually they stink. But I think that they're not going Justin Fields' future. I already see enough. If they bench him for Russell Wilson, that means he doesn't get the contract at the end of the season.
He hasn't earned it. Why would he be in line? Now, the one thing about Fields that you appreciate is on a 3rd and short, he'll take the contact, or any short, whatever.
He's a very effective runner.
He'll definitely run, but this is not going to. It's not going to be enough. And I know that I'm probably going to regret saying this because watching Russell Wilson is no picnic either.
It's going to be 17-13 in the fourth quarter, one way or the other. It's going to be the same team. It's Tomlin.
But here's the thing. If you're a Steeler fan, are you getting a little concerned when you're watching the Ravens? And
yes,
the Ravens' offense looks amazing. And to be honest, I know the Bengals keep losing, but their offense is not the problem. Well, debatable.
Their offense is amazing.
No, their offense is incredible, and Joe Burrow had 5 touchdowns
yesterday. They can't
yesterday.
run without like they used to, but they're scoring at will.
Yes, they are, but are you going to really, quibble about the offense? But when you have your last 3 drives and now what has become a dogfight of a game, now we're talking about the Bengals and the Ravens, and you go interception, 3 and out, and then 3 rush yards in that overtime that leads to a missed field goal.
They were milking.
And the interception was not Burrow's fault. Yeah. Jamar Chase already said that was my fault.
They were milking the lead. They have the 5th worst defense in the league. The Ravens have the 8th worst defense in the league. Like, these are powerhouse offenses.
No, I get it, but I'm saying those last 3 drives for the Bengals offense, they couldn't salt the game away.
Right. But I'm saying that's not because their offense isn't high powered. They were just trying to kill clock. It wasn't like they didn't even let Burrow do his thing. That's not because the offense has a problem.
But why?
I'm saying it's the most explosive. It is the most explosive
offense. Their offense should be trying to salt the game away there, and they weren't able to do it, right?
Right. Because the coaches decided to run plays they were like, just kill the clock, right?
Right, but it wasn't effective because they weren't getting enough first downs. Right?
But I'm saying when that offense is trying to move the ball, they're incredibly explosive.
They are. Yeah. Again, the 5 touchdowns, I get it, but you also had 2 separate 10-point leads in the 3rd quarter and the 4th quarter and couldn't hang on to them.
Yeah, but your defense is bad now, which is so surprising.
Yeah, they are bad. 855-212-4227. They look old and slow. But you are welcome to weigh in on the Cowboys, what you saw yesterday. Are you now happy that the team gave Dak Prescott that big contract extension, the $60 million a year? And then also for the Steelers, are you ready for Russ?
Mr. Unlimited.
Oh, by the way, I'm glad you brought that up. Did you guys see that one sideline report from Melissa Stark yesterday? She had 2 good ones. First, that
she was on fire yesterday.
I know, she was awesome. They got wraps.
Love that.
During the 90-minute delay. Not sandwiches but wraps. That type of thing. And she also reported that he's going to have a new catchphrase when he comes back.
Who, Russ?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So.
Do we know what it is yet?
That's our little secret.
No, I think we do. So, what was the Seattle one? Was Go Hawks, right?
Go Hawks, right?
And then
Let's
Broncos
ride.
Country.
Let's ride. Broncos Country, let's ride.
I think this one is going to be, what did she say? No sleep till 7.
I missed it when she said this.
I think it's like don't sleep till 7 or quest for 7 or something about the 7th Super Bowl for the Steelers organization. Something
I'm a little disappointed. We remember we had a whole thing about let's weld. Like we were trying to find a good catchphrase, and it's just something about the 7th Super Bowl.
Let's weld. I forgot about that.
That was I think that was a Perloff.
Bro, it's miraculous. Dude. Can that be our new catchphrase? Bro, it's miraculous. That should be the name of their team. Actually, no, that was the wrong team.
Maybe something was welded together after that point. Sounded like it.
Bro, miraculous.
I thought his shoulder was hurt. Silly me.
Yeah, I have no idea. That's
well,
what
he's hanging his shoulder.
That's kind of like
right, but he's hanging his shoulder maybe because of the man region something was wrong, and he was trying to cover or maybe give himself some aid.
That's like when Josh Allen's head bounced off the turf like a basketball and goes, "Yeah, I hurt my ankle."
Yeah.
Well, why'd you just run off the field with no limp if you hurt your ankle?
The best. Yeah, I got my ankle rolled up on. It's like I think I see some brain matter on your jersey.
I've seen Pulp Fiction before. I know brain matter when I see it.
Oh my gosh.
We're not joking about the injury is very serious, but the lying about the injuries is like.
Oh, this is like Tua with a back injury. When he's stumbling.
I've noticed this all year long. They've definitely taken the last 2 years taken a step back on concussions. They're getting further and further away from the settlement. They're like, well, we're going to go back to doing what we want.
Well, I saw Chase Daniel had a freeze frame that he put on his social media of Josh Allen coming out of the blue tent, and it looks like someone's handing him smelling salts. It's like, are you crazy?
Yeah. They're gonna get. This is not gonna end well for the NFL.
I think it will.
I think that the concussion thing before was not going in a good direction, and they pivoted for the right reasons. If they're really gonna go back to the way it was, something bad's gonna happen.
Well, it just all
You mean
feels
someone
like
dying?
such eyewash.
I don't want to say that, but like
Well-
something bad is gonna
Beyond billions of
Tua's
dollars.
gonna play again. Like Tua's gonna play again, and we've seen what has happened to him when he gets concussed. And I'm not wishing anything against him or any of these guys, but like Josh Allen probably shouldn't have been on that field. He shouldn't have played yesterday, probably because of what happened last week. And then you watch the way he played, you kind of wonder maybe something's wrong. And then he has those two incidents, especially the one in the fourth quarter. And you're right. I think about this that the NFL they've decided the concussion thing.
Yeah.
We're done with that.
Yeah.
Like, let's go back to the old school days. And this is not going to end well because these guys are bigger, stronger, faster than they were back then. I'm really worried right now.
And I'm not blaming the announcers, but they don't even touch it. They don't even touch it. And you know, I get it. There's probably a lot of pressure to do nothing to see here, or whether it's implicit or explicit. But I think it's definitely a problem. That would be, you know, does anyone think Tua is not going to end up just like 2 seasons ago, where after one concussion, then the next one he gets, he's going to be off the field in an ambulance?
Yeah, the public, I think, is with you. I think we all are kind of nervous about that. You know, the bigger risk for football is paralysis. Like we almost saw, there was a really bad one earlier this year. So I think, yeah, I mean, football is people die in high school all the time. It's an incredibly dangerous sport. I don't think that's necessarily how someone's going to die. We almost saw your guy, DeMar Hamlin, die of a heart issue.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
It's weird because you say, and I think we all don't want to see these massive head shots, and we get it, and we know the sport's really dangerous. But the kickoff rule to me does not seem like it's keeping anyone healthier. And that was the whole idea behind it. And you just keep adding games. First you added playoff games. Now you're adding regular season games. You add games. What do you think's going to happen?
The kickoff rule doesn't look super dangerous. It looks like a run play. It's kind of lame, to be honest, and the rules are very confusing. But you're right. They are adding games.
But they're adding plays.
But
That's
the thing
whole
about the concussion thing
run
is we don't see it. We don't see the results. You know, we don't really see what happens when the person's 45 years old. So I think that's a little easier to handle. I think that's how everybody just turns a blind eye to it.
Coming up, we saw one veteran QB limping around the field yesterday. So what does his team do now? We'll get to that next. It's Maggie and Perloff.
Thomas Smith couldn't help it, he let it slip. Tolbert took a hit, felt his nuts rip. Sprained his fucking nuts, twisted him tight, but came back in the game, ready to fight. He sprained his fucking nuts, his balls got rent, but still made the play no one would expect. Caught that pass to the wind like a stud, with his jewels throbbing, lying in the mud. The doc threw it deep, Tolbert didn't miss, even with his ball screaming, what the fuck is this? He powered through, nuts in a twist, caught the game winner, you get the gist. He sprained his fucking nuts, his boys got wrecked, but came back out there, no into the hush. Balls on fire, burning like the sun, still caught that pass, got the damn job done. Doc threw it deep, Tolbert didn't miss, even with his balls screaming, what the fuck is this? He powered through, nuts in a twist, caught the game winner, you get the gist. He sprained his fucking nuts, his boys got crushed, but came back out there, no hints of a hush. Balls on fire, burning like the sun, still caught that pass, got the damn job done. Meanwhile, Peter Belotti's nowhere in sight, missing work again like it's a fucking birthright. Tolbert's out here, nuts and pain, but top Belotti's at home, taking the day off, enough's enough. So here's to Tolbert, the man with the guts, playing through pain with sprained fucking nuts. And here's to Belotti, who can't be found. Tolbert's got balls, but where's Pete around? Lee's brain is fucking nuts. His boys got wrecked, but still made the play no one would expect. Caught that pass, sealed the win like a stud, with his jewels throbbing, lying in the mud. Brain is fucking nuts, his boys got wrecked, but came back out there, no hints of a hush. Balls on fire, burning like the sun, still caught that pass, got the damn job done. Meanwhile, Peter Belotti's nowhere in sight, missing work again like it's a fucking birthright. Tolbert's out here, nuts and pain, but top Belotti's at home, taking the day off, enough's enough. So here's to Tolbert, the man with the guts, fighting through pain with sprained fucking nuts. And here's to Belotti, who can't be found. Tolbert's got balls, but where's Pete around? Enough's enough. Enough's enough. Oh yo, L.O. Man, he's got a wiffle bat swinging with flair. Behind the glass, he's waving it in the air. That bat's bright yellow, could do some harm. If he's not careful, it'll raise the alarm. EJ sitting close, looking a bit tense. He knows one wrong move could be at his expense. Man, he swings wild like he's aiming to score. EJ's ducking low, getting ready to hit the floor. Oh man, he put that bat away. Someone's bound to get hurt today. Peter Belotti's missing again. So much for counting on our old friend. Man, he's in the zone like he's up in the plate, but one wrong swing and it could seal EJ's fate. The yellow bat's twirling, it's like a storm. EJ's leaning back trying to keep warm. Where's Peter Bellotti? Not a soul knows. He's skipping work as the legend goes, leaving Manny and his bat to take the stage, while Peter's off the grid, who knows what age. Oh man, he put that bat away. Someone's bound to get hurt today. Peter Belotti's missing again. So much for counting on our old friends. Man, he's in the zone like he's up at the plate, but one wrong swing and it could seal EJ's fate. The yellow bat's twirling, it's like a storm. EJ's leaning back trying to keep warm. With Peter Bellotti, now his soul knows. He's skipping work as the legend goes, leaving Manny and his bat to take the stage, while Peter's on the grid, who knows what age.
In 5 seconds.
What the is Aaron Rodgers up to today?
Not winning games.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't even know. Like, let's really talk about what he's up to. He went all the way to London. Like, he's got to build in some sort of ayahuasca trip, some sort of something there. There's a whole new set of weird things he could do over there, Maggie. You think he just went to London and was a tourist or played football? I feel like there had to be some adventurous thing he did over there. What's the point of getting on a plane for 6 hours if you're not going to do some sort of unusual self-improvement activity?
Can you imagine the types of theories that Rodgers has about Stonehenge?
Oh, he definitely saw Stonehenge. That's a great point. There's got to be some of the, or like,
What
I don't
is
know.
Stonehenge, by the way? I know what it is, but what is the theory behind it?
Aliens made it, right?
I thought it was like some kind of calendar or
Yeah,
totem.
doesn't it read like the fall equinox or the winter solstice and the summer solstice, something like that?
The question is, what does Aaron Rodgers think it is?
Yes.
That's I would love
Aliens
to
is
find
way
out.
too easy.
Yeah.
I feel like Aaron Rodgers is a little too obvious to go to Stonehenge. Like, there's some other weird thing.
Loch Ness to go to Scotland, maybe?
I think he thinks like I have no idea, like Big Ben is secretly sending out missions to deep space or something. I think like he goes way, way beyond like the normal conspiracies, right?
I think he does. I think he does them all. I think he'll do everything from moon landing to lizard people. You know, I think he's like
Well, he's big in the Tartarian Empire.
What he doesn't do is read Brian Flores' defenses clearly.
I was gonna say, or books from the library.
Yeah, that too.
He's doing his own research on the internet. Yeah, this is bad, guys.
Telling me.
Kudos to the Vikings, by the way. To the victor goes the spoils. Vikings go over, almost gave the game away. Got a couple big defensive plays, though, that helped seal the game, and Darnold was good enough. This is not what you expected. I think you thought you were going to win the close ones. Am I wrong about that, EJ?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Wait. You thought the Jets were going to win the close ones?
With Rodgers, yes, because they've been playing
Why?
close games because the defense has been good for a couple years now. You thought Rodgers was going to be the guy who took you over the top, and he's not doing that.
Well, I mean, last game was a monsoon. I don't think that counted against Denver, and he did actually get them into field goal winning.
Last week was the worst.
But that was definitely not a
Rookie
Rodgers.
quarterback, you're at home.
Rodgers outthrew the rookie quarterback by 200 yards.
Then why?
But they got him and he missed the field goal at the end of the game because there was a garbage game. They talk about a game they should have delayed. They should have delayed that game. They couldn't even, nobody could hold the ball. But by the way, and Rodgers, again, wasn't great and obviously threw the picks, but he was not terrible in the second half of that game. Like, he actually did some things. Minnesota, I don't know why Minnesota gets these huge leads and then just lets the other team back in. I thought Rodgers did some okay things. I'm more worried about him limping. Like, tell me what's going on there.
Well, let's talk about it. Aaron Rodgers has been getting crushed because the offensive line can't hold up.
Or is it just because he's injured? Are you sure it's the offensive line?
He's
think
taking a lot of hits. He can't move. So
Well,
it's not like he can escape.
But the hits are not what's hurting him. I feel like when he cuts or something, like you can almost see his knee swelling in real time. I just think he's not. I think there's something wrong.
No, well, his knee is banged up. It's swollen. He said this last week, and then he goes down like in a heap. He had pressure in his face, especially in the first half, and he was limping.
I wonder if the Achilles thing is not fully healed.
Well, fair to wonder that. By the way, did I get clowned about saying should Rodgers even play in this game?
Yeah, I mean,
on this show, yes, but the internet actually was like way more people were on your side than I thought.
And when he limped off the field the first time, now miraculously he ended up coming back in, and that's what I basically was like, Robert Saleh, just buy a ticket and watch the game in the freaking stands because you don't do anything. But he did come out and he didn't play terribly after that, but he limped off the field. Wasn't it going through everyone's mind? Like, why are you even playing today?
But he got hurt by being sacked. He didn't get hurt because of the turf.
Right. Yeah, he's taking hits because their offensive line can't protect him.
But wasn't your point to not play on the crappy turf in London?
No, my point was you're already hurt. So it wasn't so much about the turf. The crappy turf is his home turf in MetLife Stadium.
Yeah, you're just taking him off the field a lot. I
am.
I mean, honestly, that last drive, like, I think if he could have called holding, and the Jets could have won that game too. The last interception, the wide receiver got manhandled, and they got an
Mike
interception.
Williams, I mean, I know he had turned around, but were they anywhere close to being on the same page with that route?
That ball was terrible.
It was terrible. And he's not on the same page with Garrett Wilson either.
Yeah, but I mean, Gilmore just grabbed the receiver and turned him around. If it was a normal play, they easily would have called holding. But they didn't want to throw that flag so late.
Sorry, a decent ball. It's a flag. Like, I think because he threw the ball so low and to the inside that Gilmore didn't have to hold anymore. He just stopped holding and caught the ball. Like, it was such a bad ball. And
that's what that back shoulder 50-50 ball is. And usually Williams boxes out the cornerback and gets that. He just didn't turn fast enough.
No, he underthrew him.
Yeah, he underthrew.
This was not a back. It was supposed to be a back shoulder. He didn't throw it there. He just... I don't know what Aaron Rodgers was doing. Maybe you're right. Maybe he's injured. He couldn't plant.
Well, no, I think Williams was. If Williams had turned around a few seconds earlier, he could have just boxed out Gilmore and made the play.
I don't think the ball was getting there.
He could have prevented. He maybe could have prevented the interception, like by playing defense, but he was never going to catch that.
He could have boxed. He kept running. If he had stopped and just played, like, he's so much bigger than Gilmore.
But Gilmore was inside him on his hip, trailing him. I don't think he could have gotten back through Gilmore to get the ball. It was so low and so underthrown. Gilmore falling caught it almost by accident. The throw was terrible. So was missing Garrett Wilson over the top was terrible too.
Yeah,
he and Wilson are not speaking the same language. Yeah. So now we'll see about Davante Adams. I mean, he would definitely help. Bogusch has headlines for us. What's up, folks?
My unofficial poll question of the day, can you make NBA history in a preseason game, which doesn't really count? LeBron and Bronny James sharing the court for 4 minutes and 9 glorious seconds of last night's 118-114 preseason loss to the Suns. It's the first time a father and son have shared an NBA court, but did they really? No matter what we think, LeBron enjoyed it, I think.
It's definitely a moment that I will never forget, and it's pretty cool.
I guess he's saving the actual emotions for the regular season.
Definitely.
Dad had 19 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists in just 16 minutes. Son had 0 points and 4 turnovers in 13 minutes.
Bronny doesn't score a lot, does he?
Or at all.
He had that little lefty layup on Friday.
That line was perfect.
How about that 2 points on Friday,
It's like you're just... this is what I don't understand. We're like 6 months ahead of you. You're just now stumbling on all the problems of Bronny in an NBA uniform.
I'm well
Stop talking about his defense. He doesn't score, does he? Nope.
All right.
He's small, isn't he?
I get it.
It's all right. Perloff said he's going to cry when Bronny and LeBron have a moment.
Oh, he said we all will, not just him.
Yeah.
I probably won't cry. I think you guys are the softies. You definitely be emotional.
I am
the
softie.
one with the sports on. What if you and Jake played pro together?
That would be amazing. I would hope, again, that I am the one old and decrepit holding on for stud Jake to make it to whatever stupid professional league is employing me.
Bro,
not this
miraculous. Way. That's how it would be.
Dak Prescott, 2 interceptions, 1 lost fumble, but also this last night in Pittsburgh.
For the ball game, 4th and goal. Prescott in the gun, snap is back. He has some time. He throws it in the end zone. It's a touchdown to Jalen Tolbert on the left side of the end zone, crossing in front of Deshaun Elliott with 20 seconds to play. Goodness gracious me.
Brad Sham liked it on Cowboys Radio. Dallas winning 2017 on that 4-yard 4th down conversion. Jalen Tolbert caught it.
I love going to war with these guys. We showed grit, we showed integrity, we showed everything that we needed to show, and came on the road and got a hard-fought victory, 3-0 on the road, so we just got to keep building on it.
This game ended near 1 a.m. Eastern after kicking off 90 minutes late because of storms in the area. It's back-to-back losses now for the Steelers. Justin Fields' offense only mustered 226 yards. No confirmation yet from Elias or the like, but I can't imagine many teams have won despite doing this. The Dolphins missed 2 field goals, had a punt blocked, and were -2 in turnover margin, and they still beat the Patriots 15-10 yesterday.
Oh, boy. I don't think they should have, by the way. Again, you had Jalen Polk. Basically, he catches the ball in the back of the end zone, and they have to go to the replay. And this is not, to me, what replay should be about. Replay is about overturning the obvious stuff to make sure we don't have an Armando Galarraga, Jim Joyce situation, right? To make sure you don't have the Well, it ended up happening in the Rams-Saints game anyway, where you don't have these awful, terrible calls, right? Isn't that the spirit of what replay? It's we do every blade of grass. That's what it's become.
Yeah, that's what it should be. I mean, there's millions of dollars bet on this. You should have a completely accurate product. In fact, I think they need to expand it to every play.
Okay, but do you feel like you get accurate all the time?
Yeah,
Keon Coleman stepped out. Nobody even said about that.
Well, that was one mistake. It definitely, I can't imagine the NFL without replay, and they need to expand it.
It's fine, but I'm just saying you want it to make sure you're getting things right, but there are times with the replay where you can't even tell if you're getting it right because it's such a minuscule, you're going down to pixels basically on your TV.
Right, but you should, right? I mean, does anybody think that they should not reverse the right call?
They should always get it right, but
yeah, they should.
But they
always
don't still.
Yeah, I mean, baseball in particular. I don't know what's going on this weekend, but one of your Phillies was out at first base the other day, and Jazz Chisholm was out at second base in Game 1 for the Yankees, and he ends up scoring the game-winning run. I don't know what those two replays. One's a steal, one's a pickoff, and they're just like, oh no, he's definitely safe, and he was definitely out.
Well, the other part, too, is with baseball for a second, is the strike zone is an issue.
Yeah.
And I think both teams, both the Phillies and the Mets, 100% had reason to be complaining on Friday night. That was out of line. That was like you're wondering whether the umpire has money on the game or has a flight to catch or dinner reservations or something, all those jokes, because how do you...
That was Andy Fletcher.
How do you even... defend that?
Who's also apparently a terribly ranked umpire during the regular season, but was good enough to get a postseason assignment.
Yeah, was Angel Hernandez not available?
So do we go to robots? Are we ready?
We need the minor league thing where you just tap your helmet and in a nanosecond they have the quick replay, and then okay, good, that's a ball, that's a strike. Let's go.
We're so past where we should have had a robot umps years ago for balls and strikes. 100%. I don't know, but on the bases, you're going to have to be, it's a little bit different.
I think the one thing I'll disagree with Maggie on the replay is I actually like that the referees are aggressive in saying, I'm pretty sure this is wrong. We need to change it. I know there's an idea of the call stands because of what we called on the field. I personally don't like that. I think I would not have that.
That's the way it's written. It's got to be overwhelming evidence to, to change the call.
I think that's ridiculous. Personally, I feel like it's if you see the play and there's reasonable doubt, like we do in, whatever, I would say, all right, it's very clear that even if we can't see every little inch, it's most likely this guy dropped the ball. It's not a catch. I just hate the plays when we know the guy didn't catch it, but it's whoa, there's not indisputable evidence. Right. Those plays kill me.
Replay assist is awesome.
That is not bad.
That is great.
The only thing is there's also still a method to it, though. With the replay assist is when it comes from New York or up top or wherever it's coming from. But if you go up and run a play quickly, did this happen last night in the Steeler game, right? They had a 3rd and short. I believe this was last night in the Steelers-Cowboys. Now they're all running together. And they ran to the line to run a play quickly. But if they had just waited for the replay assist, they actually would have seen that they got the first down. I think it was Justin Fields on a run play.
Yeah, it was last night.
Yeah.
It was last night.
There was also the weird one in the Jets game where the guys on TV didn't know what was going on. And all of a sudden, they were putting 50 seconds back on the clock. And it was 3rd and 8, not 3rd and 2, because there was a Garrett Wilson catch that they changed to incomplete. And Rich Eisen was doing his London shtick, and they weren't paying attention. While on the screen, they're moving things around. The clock is changing. Then finally, oh, by the way, this just happened.
By the way,
it's like Stacey Dale's on a double-decker bus. Meanwhile, what's the call with Garrett Wilson?
That broadcast was
let's move on. We're not going to talk about...
Did you text Charlie Uke about that one yet?
No, I'm just saying... I don't want to say anything about any of my friends here.
We love it.
I love Rich. He's one of my all-time favorites. He's a Jets fan, and Kurt Warner's the best, but oh my gosh.
I got a long list. That was a bad one, and Tom Verducci needs to stop trying to ask profound questions post-game to Phillies.
But they like
that about?
But everybody likes Verducci, though. Can you tell? He gets the best energy in those interviews.
And he's a tremendous writer, but he asked 6 questions yesterday to 2 different Phillies, and they were all paragraphs long. And Rocky Balboa references.
Two Rocky references.
Just get to the finish line.
That's because you do not want to. You got to be careful. You want to talk so Castellanos is not talking. That's the key because he will embarrass you so badly.
I have a question for you, Pearl, because he went to 2 Rocky references.
Back-to-back Rocky references.
And it almost seemed like Castellanos wasn't picking it up.
Definitely.
Is that a problem for a Philadelphia athlete? Or do you think that he just was so out of space? Like, Kyle Watson, like, wow, he really doesn't get this?
That's how you read it? I took it as he's just not doing it. He knew what he was. He just didn't want to play with Verducci.
He's Popovich. I mean, he's torture. He loves to torture those guys.
Yeah.
In fact, and Harper loves Verducci. I thought they were going to hug.
I know, but I think he did the Harper too, and Harper really didn't seem to give him much on the Rocky thing. I was like,
well, what are you going to give him? Yo, Adrian? What's he supposed to give?
Win, Rocky, win.
I can't believe you guys aren't over this at all.
The Rocky?
Rocky?
Yeah, just the city of Philadelphia.
True. You can't believe the city of Philadelphia is not over Rocky?
Yeah.
What? Are you crazy?
Enough already.
It's a good movie, Rocky?
I get it. Anything else?
The actual games yesterday, the Phillies won 7-6. Nick Castellanos in that interview for his game-ending RBI single. They beat the Mets. They're even 1-1. Then the Padres hit 6 homers, got 7 strong innings from Yu Darvish. They won at Dodger Stadium 10-2. That series is 1-1 as well. The AL series resumed today. Their game 2s. And the New York Liberty are back in the WNBA Finals, second straight year, 6 times overall, but still looking for their first title. Sabrina Ionescu scored 22 in their 76-62 closeout of the Aces in Game 4 in Vegas. The Sun then outscored the Lynx 92-82, forcing a deciding Game 5 in Minnesota tomorrow night. Guys, back to you.
Bogus, thank you. See you guys on the phones. You want to talk about baseball. You want to talk about football from yesterday, particularly with Aaron Rodgers and him limping on the field and the Jets losing again. 855-212-4227.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Against the grain.
All right, welcome back, Maggie Perloff. Let's go against the grain here. Cincinnati Bengals fall to 1-4. They're the greatest 1-4 team in the history of the NFL. But that's not my take.
Oh.
They are going to make the playoffs, Maggie. They are my Super Bowl pick, and I hate to double down. I am not losing faith because 1-4 sounds bad, right? They have to win Sunday night at the Giants, but I feel they're going to be desperate. Caged animal Bengals are going to win that game. Then they at Cleveland, they have to win that game. Unless Cleveland does a quarterback switch and find some Joe Flacco magic, then we're 3-4.
I mean, Jameis Winston magic. They wish they could have Joe Flacco magic.
Right, kind of like Joe Flacco last year magic.
Gotcha. Sorry.
So a 3-4 Bengals team, that's fine. If they're 3-4, we're good. What's the problem? What are we scared of? Their offense is crazy good. Remember, they didn't really have a fully in shape T. Higgins at the beginning of the season. Now he's back. Jamar Chase is arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL right now. He's a combination of Tyreek Hill and Davante Adams. Joe Burrow is on fire. Yes, their defense has no answers right now. I'm not going to lie to you. It's bad. But the Giants, the Browns, the Eagles, the Raiders, that's their next 4 opponents. None of those offenses scare you right now. There's a chance that they immediately turn this around. I feel... I think you put this word. They got him exactly where they want him, Maggie. This is Bengals time.
Wow, that is really optimistic for you.
I mean, show me the loss.
Well, but here's the question. The Ravens look like maybe they could be the best team in the league.
The Ravens are great.
Okay, and the Steelers always find a way to hang around.
The Steelers do not scare me right now.
All right, but again, this is a team that's probably going to run into at least 7 wins before their schedule gets really, really tough at the end of the year. And they're going to win a couple of those too, improbably.
The Steelers?
Yeah, the Steelers.
Well, remember last year they lost at home to the Bears and the Cardinals when they were 7-4 with Kenny Pickett in perfect position. So, again, not terrifying me. Yeah, it's probably going to have to be a wild card.
And what if the Browns do go to Jameis and then they find a little magic? Then all of a sudden now...
I mean, there's no Nick Chubb. Myles Garrett has 2 bad feet. I'm not... Again, like that's a big if. I would worry about the rest of the conference before I worry about Cleveland and Pittsburgh.
I mean, I'll give you this. Yeah, as far as 1-4 teams, I guess they're the most dangerous. But what are you saying? I mean, I'm putting you in the same conversation as the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Carolina Panthers and the Rams, whose season is totally off the rails.
Forget these teams. None of those. I'm saying they're the best 1-4 team in NFL history. They have an MVP caliber quarterback for sure. He's as good as anyone out there. He's better than Mahomes right now. Mahomes isn't playing well at all. Lamar is the other. That was an incredible battle. Those 2 guys going back and forth. I just think the problem obviously is defense. They've scored 30 points 3 games in a row. The offense is cooking. Now the defense catches up a little bit. The schedule lends itself to some wins. Just hopefully they hold it together. The end of the season's really easy. They got Tennessee, Cleveland, Denver, Pittsburgh, and that could be 4 straight wins. Just hang in there, Cincinnati. I need my Super Bowl pick to at least make the playoffs.
Your Super Bowl pick might be sunk before Halloween.
I'm just curious. Do you not agree that this could turn around fast based on that schedule?
Well, I just saw the Giants somehow go to Seattle without Malik Neighbors and without Devin Singletary and win that game. So I don't know if it's going to be a walkover this Sunday night. But here's the thing about the Bengals. Yeah, Joe Burrow's awesome and Jamar Chase is amazing. And on paper, they should be way better. But they lose these games. They're losing games to people they shouldn't lose to. And I'm not saying the Ravens are a team they shouldn't lose to. I'm just saying they lost that early game to the New England Patriots. You know, you're losing a game to the Commanders where you're going throw for throw. At some point, this could catch up with you.
That's their jam. They lose early season games. They love to. It always happens. Always under Burrow. So I hope the schedule helps them out. This is a big game against the Giants. They're 3.5-point favorites. Seattle was dying to lose a game. I'm not going to read too much into that. We'll see if Neighbors plays.
Yeah, but that's bad for Seattle. You're at home.
Yeah.
Giants team totally banged up, and they put a thumping on Geno Smith yesterday. Geno was taking some crazy hits, and he's not a small guy, Geno. And he was taking. There were times they panned over to him on the sideline with those headphones on. And it seemed like he didn't want any part. And I'm not saying Geno's a quitter. I'm not calling him soft. I'm just saying I think he got beat up yesterday.
Yeah, but they still had a chance to tie the game, probably win in overtime. That, again, Seattle, that's a big win, but it's not like they're world beaters. So the Giants are not scaring me too much for my Bengals. My Bengals. Yeah, I'm going there, Maggie.
Joshua is in San Diego, wants to talk about the Padres game from yesterday. Hey, Josh, what's up?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks so much for taking my call. You guys have a great show. Love it. Listen to in the morning before my local show comes on. But so I just want to talk about Profar in the bottom of the first.
Yep.
So earlier you guys were discussing it, and you guys were saying that you believe he was, chirping to the fans and whatnot, which is fine and all. So I did see a video from the fans during that play from that angle. He didn't say a word, and the only reason I bring that up is because a lot of times on the national media, not to talk too much about, national media, that don't look good upon the Padres, but, they always want to bring up the bad about the Padres when we have a really, solid team with great intentions and great heads on their shoulders. All you have to do is listen to the post-game interviews and you can know that, we don't have a Jesse Winkler type. We don't have a Rendon type on our team. Machado, he's had his issues in the past, but he's a great leader, and he does everything right, by the book. So
yeah. But wait, you don't think that Profar was chirping at the fans?
I know he wasn't. I saw a video. He wasn't chirping at the fans at all. I can send you guys the video on X. He didn't say a word after he caught that. He was hyped, and he said in the post game interview that that's the one thing he always wanted to do was to rob a home run. So he was hyped. He was hopping up and down, which probably didn't bode well, for him or the team versus the Dodgers or their fans. But he didn't say a word.
All right. Joshua, thank you, and good luck to your pods.
Manny, what same thing what Profar was doing, right?
He was just staring at them, giving them a mean mug. Yes, technically he wasn't saying anything.
But was he?
It's all right.
Same difference.
Josh. It's the same thing.
Or was he inciting them? Was he
antagonizing them?
Antagonizing, trolling them a little bit.
Trolling them, exactly.
He's still trying to get under their skin.
Right.
No, he didn't say anything, but he's still trying to get under the skin by antagonizing them.
Also, again,
miss me, Josh. Come on, bro.
Also, Tatis was saying a lot, and he was on the front step of because I watched the game. He's on the front step of the dugout, literally just looking into the crowd, just having a conversation with the crowd, and it was not a nice conversation. That's just.
This is the stuff we like, except you just can't throw stuff onto the field.
Right. This is a great rivalry.
We love it.
Those Dodgers rivalries get a little.
Well, they
too
get
much.
a little too much.
They've gotten dangerous in the past. But
recently,
by the way, Profar that dude is fast. He is awesome.
Great player.
Yeah, Tatis to me seems like the most verbal player in the entire Major League Baseball. That guy does not stop talking.
He'll talk to anybody.
This is what happens when you get division rivals who are playing each other in the postseason. It should be like this. The
cool.
Mets and the Phillies are chirping at each other.
Yeah, these two NL series are really, really awesome. I hope they both go. I hope the Phillies win in 7. But if they went 7, this would be great for baseball.
5 because it's a
5. That'd be even better. If they went 7.
Just add a couple more games. Someone will be upset.
It looked like we were getting the Shohei party in Game 1. That was like that. Shohei would be good for baseball too. If he could dominate this postseason, that would be the biggest rating they could possibly have.
Yeah, but, the Padres are fun. And even with the trolling of the fans and the chirping, and they got some big personalities. I mean, I'm not like the biggest Machado fan, but I get it. If I was in San Diego, I'd love him.
I mean, he's yelling at what's the name, the pitcher last night, because he thought he threw somebody intentionally. Which, how the hell would he throw somebody intentionally in a playoff game?
Yeah, Flaherty?
Yeah, Flaherty hit. I think he hit Tatis and Machado. But you know what? Like, that's a guy I want in my foxhole. Like a guy who's unnecessarily ready to throw down. Like, yeah.
Well,
this
the only
is the
thing is Machado sometimes can dog it, but yeah, I'm just watching the Profar home run again. Did he say anything? Doesn't matter. To your point, he's jumping up and down.
I also like how Josh said we don't have the Jesse Winkler types, as if Fernando Tatis is not on the team, jawing at people in right field. Josh, bro.
Just love your team, that's all. You don't have to convince us that they're a bunch of saints, It's okay. We're going to like them anyway. 855-212-4227. Coming up, every NFL game recapped in 60 seconds.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
The longest day in the history of football. Is that right? It felt like it. Add in a little baseball, add in a little WNBA. Yesterday had it all.
Coming off a crazy, crazy long Saturday of college football as well.
I know 5 teams upset in the top 15, I think it was.
Yeah.
That was insane, and it bled in. It's like, is there a full moon or something happening? But anyway, we were the ones who were the beneficiaries because yesterday you had football start at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time and didn't end until after midnight because that Steelers-Cowboys game was delayed an hour and a half because of rain. And that game, not the prettiest, Pearl, but delivered at the end with the Cowboys converting literally 4th and goal. Dak Prescott to Jalen Tolbert for the touchdown when Tolbert had just left the game earlier. Silly me. I thought it was a shoulder injury. Turns out.
Bro, it
was
miraculous.
a bleeping bleep.
It turns out
Bro,
was
miraculous.
miraculous. He could barely walk. It was something a little bit south of the shoulder.
Yeah, but here's the question. You come away from that Cowboys win. It's a big win. They're 3-2. They have a ridiculously hard schedule. I don't feel like this team is as good as last year. Like, they're not explosive at all on offense, and their defense isn't getting to the quarterback like it used to. I don't know. I just feel like, oh, man, they're going to have to battle to make the playoffs. Where last year they felt in kind of the second half of the year, they looked like one of the best teams in the league before the playoffs started. Now, I don't see them winning 40-0 over the Giants. None of that stuff's going to happen again.
No, very, very different. So it's going to come down to they found a little bit of the run game last night.
Yep.
Defense having to make big stands and Dak Prescott coming through. And I ask you, if you're a Cowboy fan and you wake up today, your team's 3-2, aren't you happy you signed Prescott? It's okay to admit it. I know that he's had some tough postseason stuff, Perloff, but so is Kirk Cousins, and I think the fans in Atlanta are probably happy to see Cousins on their team. This is the time where we saw a lot of quarterbacks yesterday that couldn't make that final play, couldn't make that final throw, and Dak wasn't particularly good during the entire game, but when it mattered, he's got the ball in his hands, less than 2 minutes to go, nearly fumbled it away, but that's fine. Comes through at the end, you walk away with a win.
Well, what happened first, second, and third down? Things happen.
Close but no cigar. But they got it. They got it.
No. I think Dak is definitely, he's a veteran poised quarterback. He's won a million close games. I want you to cut that, what Maggie just said, and bring it back in January, because I do think Cowboys fans realistically have in the back of their mind, okay, we can win some regular season games, but to pay off on $60 million, Dak's going to have to turn around the playoffs. Maybe this is a better formula. Maybe they'll be battle tested come postseason, and they won't immediately let a team like the Packers run all over them. I still think their Achilles heel, we didn't see it last night, it was the run defense.
Yep.
And Pittsburgh has not actually been a great running team. Like Najee Harris, not averaging a lot per carry. Justin Fields really didn't get off. So I think the Cowboys knew the Steelers weren't going to pass the ball downfield. The Steelers sure don't pass the ball.
No, they
so
don't.
This is a good matchup. I just think that the margin of error is so slim right now for the Cowboys. I have trouble getting super excited if I'm a Cowboys fan.
Well, here's the thing. You don't have enough weapons. And we can say that about a couple different teams, and that's their own fault. The CeeDee Lambs and Dak Prescott stuff took up a lot of oxygen, but there's no reason to be this thin. And especially if you really do consider yourself a contender. Now, the good thing is at least you have some Jake Ferguson and Tolbert and
my
Turpin
guy, Hunter Lupke.
And Perloff's obsessed with this dude that looks like the offensive lineman. 855-212-4227. So the Steelers 3-2, Cowboys 3-2. Big question also about Justin Fields. You mentioned it, Pearl. Not a ton with his legs, 6 carries for 27 yards, but he's not afraid of the dirty yards. That's what I like about Justin Fields. What I don't love about Fields is just more of the same. 15 for 27, 131 yards. Now, 2 touchdowns, yes, no picks, but this is never going to be... How do you put this? This is never going to be an offense that's going to strike fear into the heart of anybody. And I don't know what it will look like with Russell Wilson, but this was the first time yesterday, not just because they lost, but this is the first time last night where I'm like, you know what? Let's see what it looks like with Wilson once he's healthy.
Right, because the defenses are obviously stacking the box. Najee Harris is only averaging 3.3 yards per carry. And they're so predictable on offense, and it keeps them in games. And this is Tomlin philosophy. Just their defense is awesome. I mean, listen, TJ Watt. He's like a great white shark on the field. Like, you have to watch him every single play. He's amazing. Their defense is spectacular, but you're right. You need a deep threat. You need something a little different.
You want to know maybe what changed it for me? So Justin Fields gets sort of what they say in the broadcast, decleated. You know, he gets one, really took a shot. And Kyle Allen comes in.
Oh, he looked great.
Right.
Two plays, one handoff, one pass to Freiermuth.
Yeah, for 19 yards, like on the seam. I'm like, oh, so you can actually pass in this offense. And to be fair to Fields, he did actually go try to attempt some more downfield passing. But the moment Kyle Allen comes in and completes a 19-yard pass, that's the longest offensive play that had been run in the game to that point for the Steelers.
Yeah, and the thing about Fields is he's had some good second halves, but he started off really slow. And they can't run the ball. If their bread and butter is running it, if you can't run effectively against Dallas, you're not going to, with no Micah Parsons and no DeMarcus Lawrence, you're not going to run against anybody. So I think that Steelers party is sort of came to a quick end. Like, they would look like the team to beat at 3-0. We'll see. I think they can still have a winning season because they always do.
Yeah, they do. 855-212-4227. So on the Cowboys side, are you happy now? Are you happy now that the team re-signed Dak Prescott after a win like yesterday? And then, or technically, I guess that win was today.
Yeah.
And then for the Steelers side of this, are you ready for the team to make a switch, or do you think they should stay with Fields? I mean, you do have a winning record. And he's not hurt. So.
And also, so Russ was the emergency quarterback. Do we know if Russ is fully practicing? That seems to be a big thing.
So they said on the broadcast that he went through his full first practice. He was able to do everything, and they think next week he'll be ready to go. So we'll see what happens. Now, Perloff.
Mr. Unlimited.
Perloff owes EJ breakfast all week because EJ knew that.
Kadarius Hodges.
Right.
Hodge or Hodges?
Hodge. Kadarius Hodge, who was the hero for the Falcons last Thursday night, that he went to Prairie View A&M University.
Now, can we just a little background here?
By the way, you haven't bought his breakfast yet today.
I offered, and he's still debating.
You
sicko. How did you know that?
So he looked it up that morning, which normally I would say, oh, you just looked it up. But the fact that he remembered from earlier in the morning that dude went to Prairie View A&M fully earned the breakfast. And you didn't even see the full name. You just saw the initials.
PV-A&M is what is listed on Pro Football.
Okay, I've got another one for you from last night's game.
Okay.
Pittsburgh Steelers. Aaron Shampklin had 4 carries for 14 yards. Aaron Shampklin.
I do not know this one. I did not look
Manny?
it up today.
Manny has his hand raised.
Yes, Manny.
Didn't he go to Harvard?
He did go to Harvard.
Oh.
Aaron Shampklin. These letters don't go together. PKL together.
No, yeah,
Shampklin.
that wasn't on School of Rock. What's it called?
Yeah, I before E, except after C. This one is weird.
Dude, the Ivy League is killing it. What I can't say his name, but what's that Bengals receiver's name?
Yoshivash.
Princeton.
Surprised you haven't brought it up.
Nah, there's no Dartmouth guys in the NFL.
That's the only reason why you'd bring it up. Let's get to the NFL in 60.
Maggie and Perloff take you around the league, recapping this weekend's football action. Time for NFL in 60.
How about Hunter Lepke? Where'd he go?
I assume somewhere in Texas. I don't know, Texas State? No.
North Dakota State.
I should know that.
Your favorite player. All right, EJ throws out a game. We've got 60 seconds to break it all down. Go ahead, EJ.
Okay, so it was the first time Aaron Rodgers threw 2 interceptions in the first quarter. He had a career-high 3 interceptions as the Vikings beat the Jets 23-17.
This is not going how Jets fans thought it was going to go.
You don't think Jets fans had thought this might happen where Rodgers be limping around? That was in the ether.
Okay, limping around maybe. Losing close games, though, I think is what they thought Rodgers was going to flip that script. So this has not looked awesome. And my question is, Rodgers did play a lot of the training camp, all the preseason stuff. He's been in the building. How is he this off with Garrett Wilson? What happened here? And by the way, congratulations, Vikings. You're 5-0. Great story at the end.
Yeah, it'll be my takeaway is Brian Flores is fighting his way to be a must-hire at head coach because his defense is so awesome right now.
Is he still suing the league?
I know. I wonder if he's going to be so good that lawsuit and his potential to help a team will clash this offseason. Story to watch.
That Caleb Williams guy might have a future. The Bears beat the Panthers 36-10, 304 yards to Caleb in the win.
You know what I like about the Bears? They were actually running the ball a little bit. Like Shane Waldron has gotten Caleb's gotten better or Shane Waldron's gotten better because it feels like they have a balance on their offense and he's not running around and having to make all these plays. Then again, it was against the Panthers, whose defense is a bit no-name.
This is great for Caleb Williams, but I have a feeling the Panthers may be the get-right game for everybody, even with the switch to Andy Dalton. This could be still a very long season for Carolina. But listen, the one thing about the Bears that's been impressive to me, even more so than Caleb yesterday, the defense is good. And they hit dudes. Eberflus has done a good job with the defense.
Let's head to Cincinnati, where it was an overtime thriller. The Ravens win 41-38. Big run from Derrick Henry is the difference.
Overtime, as you mentioned it, I still don't know how the Ravens pulled this game out when you have a fumble like that in overtime, Perloff. That's usually the kiss of death. And then what happened to this dude, Evan McPherson? He was like the X factor.
Totally bad snap. It wasn't on McPherson
You're right.
at all.
That's right. It was a bad snap or bad hold, whatever happened. But he was the Mr. Automatic guy, and I guess it just underscores how things are going wrong for Cincinnati.
And Zach Taylor rightfully getting heat for not trying to move up on the field a little bit to make it an easier. He just ran 3 balls into the ground. They snatched a defeat out of the hands of victory, as I like to say.
By the way, one of the all-time great Lamar plays, too, where he loses the ball, picks it back up, runs around for about 15 seconds, and then finds Isaiah Likely. Unreal.
But there was a flip side of that. He tried to do it again later and lost the ball. Like, Lamar is screwing around a lot. Lamar is awfully loose with the ball. Like, eventually that's going to catch up to him. It did catch up to him because he almost gave the game away.
They gave up 520 yards of offense. The Bengals defense did. That's nuts.
Won't win a lot of games like that. Okay, let's go to New England, where it was an overturned touchdown and just 15 points needed to beat the Pats. Dolphins win 15-10.
I like everything the Patriots are doing here. Now, they have their quarterback in Drake May, but they need a tank. Never has a team needed a player more than the Patriots need Travis Hunter because they need help on defense and they need help on offense.
So, 2 for 1.
Yeah, this is never have you had a draft where there's going to be a top 3 pick who plays both sides of the ball. The Patriots need help everywhere. If Travis Hunter can play special teams too, that would help. Bring in Travis Hunter. I like what the Patriots are doing. It does keep the season alive for the Dolphins. I actually wonder, and I know you do, does this mean Tua is going to come back sooner with a chance to get to the playoffs?
I think it does. I think that Tua is going to be off IR in, a week? I believe.
I hope not.
And
I hope they let him rest.
That Jalen Polk touchdown should have stood, in my opinion. That's not what we want replay for, in my opinion. What's next?
Okay, let's go to the nation's capital where Jaden Daniels continues to star for the Commanders. They win 34-13 over Cleveland.
And by the way, this offense for the Commanders is clearly unreal. You talked about Brian Flores playing his way to a head coaching job. Do you think that, do we get a Cliff Kingsbury 2.0? Do we get another trip with Cliff Kingsbury considering what he's done with Jaden Daniels? The offense looks great. And you know what? The defense, either Cleveland's just totally inept and can't even get themselves together in a huddle, or that Washington defense was a little bit better yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I think that Cleveland's that bad. Here's the thing. Jaden is running out of bounds really well. He's carrying the ball a lot. My only hope, this is terrible, is I love watching him. Like, will he be able to stay healthy all season? Otherwise, I think Washington might win the NFC East.
Let's head over to Jacksonville, where the Jags finally have at least one win this season. They beat the Colts 37-34 on a game-winning field goal.
Boy, they needed this, but I'm still not inspired by anything that Jacksonville was doing here. I mean, were they really going to go to 0-5? I know you said, Perloff, you thought that Trevor Lawrence was playing well. Okay.
He was awesome.
He's playing well, but I wasn't like, oh, here comes the run now for the Jags. I did not think this was a turning point for them in any way. They just got off the schneid. That's all.
Well, if they only played 3 quarters that game, they'd be the best team in the NFL. They are so bad in the fourth quarter, and you saw it coming. In real time, you're like, oh, no, the Jags are going to blow it again, but they held on. Tanks Bigsby, by the way, on my fantasy bench this week and lost by 3 points. That's great. That's just great.
Well, he only had 13 carries for 101 yards and 2 touchdowns.
I'm well aware.
Sorry about that, Pearl. Let's head over to Houston. Hydria's Maggie was another game-winning field goal for the Texans here. They beat Buffalo 23-20.
And they deserve to win because the Bills, well, you know what? They didn't deserve to win. They fumbled the ball, and the Bills should have scored a touchdown off of that and forced the Texans to have to beat them with a touchdown, not a field goal. But the Bills deserve to lose because they're backed up in their own 3-yard line, and instead of running 3 run plays to try to get the Texans to burn their timeouts, they decided to throw the ball 3 times. Left the Texans way too much time with the timeouts. They kicked the game-winning field goal. But the biggest question, Prof, is Josh Allen's health moving forward. He definitely looked to be concussed.
I think concussions you come back from quickly. The question is the wide receiving core is terrible. I don't think the Texans are playing that well, and they're 4-1. When Collins went out of that game, that offense, he is a superstar, by the way. When he went out, it felt much more, because there's no Joe Mixon yet. The Texans are 4-1 and not playing well, which actually makes them even more scary.
All right, let's get to the afternoon slate. Bo Nix gets another W. Pick 6 for Pat Surtain. Broncos beat the Raiders 34-18.
So, by the way, Pat Surtain, MVP candidate. I mean, he is dominant.
He looks amazing.
Yeah, he's definitely the best cornerback in the league right now. He might really be in the competition for Defensive Player of the Year. For me, the drama was Peyton and Bo Nix. Like, this is a soap opera that I want to watch. Screaming at him, calling him Ferris Bueller after the game. This is awesome.
Yeah, and then on the flip side for the Raiders, I mean, things go from bad to worse. Davante Adams wants out. Then Gardner Minshew gets benched for Aiden O'Connell, and it didn't look much different, better, or whatever you want to say. Max Crosby is still the dude. If you were really tanking to reset, you'd probably trade Crosby and try to get a boatload for him.
You cannot trade that guy. He's so cool.
He's so cool. What's that? He's going to look cool on the sideline when they're losing 34-18.
Do love his tattoos. Let's head over further west, where it was a second-half shutout for the Niners. Cardinals come from behind and win 24-23.
I'm still shaking my head at what happened with San Francisco in this. I know.
I'll tell you exactly what happened.
I know. I get it. Their kicker got hurt. I understand that. But I know you don't have Christian McCaffrey. But we always talked about all these weapons that the 49ers have, and they go down to the red zone and cannot score.
That's because first of all, they would have gotten a field goal and won, but they just didn't have a kicker. The other one, Jordan Mason fumbled at the 8-yard line because McCaffrey's not doing that. I'm stealing this from Chris Sims and Devin McCourty. There's a bunch of 20-yard runs from Jordan Mason that would have been 70-yard runs from McCaffrey. They miss him desperately. I don't want to put it on one guy, but he would have put that game away. This was a fluke game.
They were 1 of 6 in the red zone. You've got Kittle. You've got Debo. You've got Juwan Jennings.
You don't have a kicker.
By the way, Ayuk with a good game.
They put that game away 3 times with a kicker.
Let's head over to L.A., where it was a disastrous pick 6 that did not do in the Packers. Packers beat the Rams 24-19 at SoFi.
Yeah, I mean, this is tough to watch the Rams, and even with Stafford and his, brilliance and the future Hall of Famer and all of that stuff, it is very tough to watch. Meanwhile, Packers look good. Jordan Love, I thought, fine. This is a tough division. This is going to be tough. So any way you can stack wins, go for it. I think they're probably just feel lucky that they got out of this one unscathed.
Something feels a bit off with the Packers. I'm not sure what
Love's
it is.
Knee or something.
Yeah. No, I was worried about him when you said he looked okay. He did look okay.
He doesn't look explosive though.
No, and I'm not sure they know who the receiver is. The Romeo Doubs thing is fascinating. The suspension.
Yeah. By the way, after the show ends on Friday, Romeo Doubs gets suspended. Apparently, he hasn't liked his role in the offense. Like, dude, you had Malik Willis in a couple games. Nobody's happy with the offense. You a backup quarterback, of course not. Like. That's kind of selfish, I think, of this guy, right?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, if they had to suspend him.
They're fighting for targets. There are a lot of good receivers on that team, so that's, I think, one of the
But you can't complain when half the games have been with a backup.
For sure. I definitely agree. That's a talented receiving core. It's tough to get catches. Going to Seattle, the Giants with a shocker here, 29-20 over the Seahawks.
I've been studying the different gaps on field goal attempts. Apparently, this was a legal play, a block touchdown at the end of the Giants. Maggie, did you care to explain in specific detail why, if you're in the A gap and you're not over the center, it's not holding? Or?
I'm so happy you asked me that, Perloff. And I would just say by Exhibit A, this was what they called the Cam Chancellor. This looked like Cam Chancellor, how he used to jump over the line, and it was effective. I thought the Giants' defense looked really ferocious. Gino took some crazy hits, I thought, in that game. The offensive line for Seattle was getting overwhelmed.
I don't think Seattle's a great team.
I don't think they are either.
I think they're going to be right where they were last year, fighting at the end of the season, because they've been really close against bad teams.
This is
at home, New York coming cross country. You got to win that game.
Or you just overlooked them and you thought, oh, no Malik Neighbors, no Singletary. Yeah. We have a big spread in this game. We're just going to cruise. And they got roughed up.
And finally, last one, Cowboys, Steelers, late Dak Prescott touchdown seals it for the Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, 2 bad interceptions early on, but then Dak totally redeems himself with that last-second 4th and goal touchdown. They score 14 fourth-quarter points, and, Dallas, I think you should be happy you got Dak Prescott.
Yeah, it's such a weird game because of the delay. The fan experience was odd, too. You had to sit around and watch the NBC crew vamping for an hour and a half. I didn't come away wildly impressed with either team. I think Dallas just needs to get way more explosive. I know this is obvious. Get Davante Adams, Maggie. Just get into the Jones family compound and say, go all in for real. You need some spark offensively besides my guy Hunter Lepke out of North Dakota State.
You know what? This could be the perfect thing for the Raiders. I know we talked about how things have been pretty bad for them this week, but how many teams need a guy? It's not just the Jets and not just the Saints. There's so many teams that need a receiver.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, because everyone's getting hurt.
855-212-4227. That's the NFL in 60. We've got so much more to do, including the game we have not gotten to that we must break down. I cannot wait. Go ahead, Pearl.
All right, sports fans, listen up. 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with
Thomas Smith couldn't help it, he let it slip. Tolbert took a hit, felt his nuts rip. Sprained his fucking nuts, twisted him tight, but came back in the game, ready to fight. He sprained his fucking nuts, his balls got wrecked, but still made the play no one would expect. Caught that pass to the wind like a stud, with his jewels throbbing, lying in the mud. The doc threw it deep, Tolbert didn't miss. Even with his balls screaming, what the fuck is this? He powered through, nuts in a twist. Caught the game winner, you get the gist. He sprained his fucking nuts, his boys got wrecked, but came back out there, no into the hush. Balls on fire, burning like the sun. Still caught that pass, got the damn job done. Dak threw it deep, Tolbert didn't miss. Even with his balls screaming, what the fuck is this? He powered through, nuts in a twist. Caught the game winner, you get the gist. He sprained his fucking nuts, his boys got crushed, but came back out there, no hints of a hush. Balls on fire, burning like the sun. Still caught that pass, got the damn job done. Meanwhile, Peter Pilotti's nowhere in sight, missing work again like it's his fucking birthright. Tolbert's out here, nuts and pain, but it's off. Pilotti's at home, taking the day off. Enough's enough. So here's to Tolbert, the man with the guts, playing through pain with sprained fucking nuts. And here's to Pilotti, who can't be found. Tolbert's got balls, but where's Pete around?
3 minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining.
Oh, yo. L-O. Man, he's got a wiffle bat swinging with flair. Behind the glass, he's waving it in the air. That bat's bright yellow, could do some harm. If he's not careful, it'll raise the alarm. EJ sitting close, looking a bit tense. He knows one wrong move could be at his expense. Man, he swings wild like he's aiming to score.
15
EJ's
seconds.
ducking low, getting ready to hit the floor. Oh, man, he put that bat away. Someone's bound to get hurt today. Speed of a lot, he's missing again. So much for counting on our old friends. Man, he's in the...
Time to go. I have to go to class.
Why don't you call me sometime when you have no class?
Let's find out who made the grade after this weekend's college football action.
He is totally gonna kill at college.
What, like it's hard?
As of this moment, they're on double secret probation.
Maggie and Perloff hand out their college report card.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
All right, time to see who made the grade this weekend. Let's start with the biggest upset that we've seen in some time, and that was the Vanderbilt Commodores, Pearl, taking down the Alabama Crimson Tide. What grade are you giving Kalen DeBoer, the head coach of the Tide?
Well, I'm giving him a D+, which I think is higher than most people, because, I mean, Vandy was due. They were 0-60 against top 5 teams. It was a matter of time before they won. But I will say this, Kalen DeBoer, team was sloppy, defense is not playing well. Man, that offense just cooks. When they were down in the second half, they scored like lightning strikes. Then they had an unfortunate fumble where Jalen Milroe didn't see the blindside rusher. I love watching this offense. So that's the one positive thing I take out of this.
I'm going to give him what'd you give him? A
D+.
I'm going to go D- on this one. I think I'm combining last week where they almost coughed up a giant lead to Georgia. And then I'm going to go this week. You're on the road. I get it. But it's Vanderbilt. You even have Nick Saban making jokes about it a couple weeks prior, saying it's the only easy place to win. The stadium's under construction. You've got to win that game. And they got sort of punched in the mouth, too. This was a game where Vanderbilt took the lead and then hung on. Okay, next grade. How about, while we're on this game, the Vanderbilt fans for how they stormed the field in such an orderly fashion?
Yeah, it was a very polite field storming. I'm giving them a B+, and I'll tell you why. Because you can't be the minority in your own stadium. Like, you can't basically have a home game for everybody. So they're bragging a lot today. They're sort of trash-talking Nick Saban for saying how easy it is to play at Vanderbilt. But at a certain point, like you can't get an A if you were only quarter of the stadium and in your home stadium.
Oh, wow, because the Tide fans really invaded.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
what
yes, it was cool. Everything was cool, but still, it's a little weak sauce that you have that many Alabama fans there. I guess that happens all the time, but it really came through on Saturday.
A+ Vanderbilt fans because they carried a goalpost nearly 2 miles down to the river, from the stadium to the river.
Mm-hmm.
That's that's a group effort. That's teamwork right there. And 2 miles is kind of long when you're carrying a goalpost.
What was the team that recently did the river thing last year and was a big deal?
It was 2 years ago. It was Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee.
In Alabama,
Right.
with
Okay.
Hendon Hooker that year.
Yeah. Same river? Probably not.
Knoxville and Nashville? No, I can't. Maybe. Actually.
Mississippi? I have no idea.
No, it's the Cumberland, guys.
Oh, sorry.
Get a clue. We're
Wait,
doing
so which one is the Cumberland?
the Nashville one.
And what's the Knoxville one?
Moving on, college football report card. What grade are you giving Ashton Jeanty's Heisman campaign, Perloff?
Sorry, I thought I was talking to Vasco da Gama there. You knew so much about the different rivers.
It's Amerigo Vespucci to you.
Okay, Ashton Jeanty, oh my God, A+++++. The first play broke it. It's like the 80s all over again. He's Billy Sims. This is amazing. This is the best thing happening in college football. He's definitely, I know he's the Vegas favorite now. This is the year. It's going to be great. We've been waiting. You had Travis Hunter as your pick.
Yeah,
because
he's second in odds.
Non-traditional because the quarterbacks are playing inconsistently. I mean, it's a little early to win the Heisman, but this seems like he's in great shape.
It'd be awesome, especially from a small school. Not since the days of BYU and Houston have we seen smaller schools, and that's how going back to 1989 and 1990. So this would be great. The Heisman campaign, I'm with you, gets an A+. Okay, last one, our college football report card. Cam Ward, Perloff, in EJ's Miami Hurricanes stake Cal to a 25-point lead and come storming back in the final seconds of the fourth quarter.
I mean, is there a more fun player in college football than Cam Ward? You don't know what he's going to do on any given play. There's no lead safe against him. I give him actually an A-, a little sloppiness here. I watched actually this morning. ESPN played the whole game again because it was so good. I still don't know how they won that game as usual, but I'm into him. I think he's moving up the draft boards as well.
All right, I'm going to give Cam Ward an A+ here, but Miami can't keep getting away with this kind of thing. Now, you want to tell me Virginia Tech, Miami, that was the right call? Okay, I'll get to you there. But Cal got absolutely robbed in this game, and everyone should know it. That was targeting. It should have kept the drive alive for Cal. Not only did the students come out for game day, fantastic atmosphere. They deserve to win that game. They got hosed by the ACC refs, who apparently can't stay up late enough past their bedtime. And this was absolute BS. I feel bad for Cal, a team I once rooted for. And they deserve to win that game, bro.
Targeting?
Yeah, targeting.
That's not really a thing, but okay.
In college it is. Also, by the way, tip of the cap, A+ to the Cal fans. The Calgorithm is in full effect on social media, where they have very fun social media posts that lean into their sort of reputations, if you will. Woke, DEI, all that stuff. It's very, very fun. But they had some great signs for College Game Day. One sign said, "I thought this was a protest." It was fantastic. And my other favorite one, "I only do lines of code." It's an all-time.
That's an all-timer.
Great College Game Day sign.
Oh, because of Hurricanes? I don't know. Is that still a rep for the Miami Hurricanes, EJ?
No, it's for Miami, just the city.
Okay.
Yeah.
That should be on a T-shirt in the bookstore.
They were saying it was woke versus Coke. That was the whole. That was the whole.
Oh, like Catholics versus convicts.
Yeah.
I only do lines of code. It's a great sign for College Game Day. Andrew Bogish has headlines for us. Hi.
Hello. We begin with some breaking news from Foxborough. Patriot safety Jabril Peppers reportedly arrested Saturday morning after police received a call about an altercation at Peppers' home. He is due in court today, expected to be charged with assault, strangulation, and drug possession.
Oh, boy.
Head coach Gerard Mayo just said on Boston Radio Peppers called the team after this all went down. He was inactive with a shoulder injury for yesterday's 15-10 loss to the Dolphins.
Wait, is this an altercation with a woman or a man?
No specifics. But the charges are not domestic assault or domestic violence. It's just assault. So this might have just been a fight. with somebody else.
What kind of drugs?
The report
lines of code.
Well, the report suspects cocaine, but again, this is all unconfirmed at this point.
Wow, that's really shocking.
It was the game of the day, and this was the play of the day.
Lamar bobbles the snap, has to pick it up off the turf. He's being chased, corralled, stiff arms a man, Sam Hubbard, and finally slings in the back of the end zone. Touchdown, Isaiah Likely. Oh my, unbelievable.
You guys mentioned this quickly earlier in the hour. The call from Jerry Sandusky on Ravens Radio not doing the play justice. Lamar went 2 and knee to pick up the drop snap, got up, ran to his right, chased by Sam Hubbard twice, stiff-armed him in the face mask. The second time put Hubbard on the turf, and then as he was going out of bounds, he somehow sees Isaiah Likely back towards the middle of the end zone, throws it for the touchdown. Lamar and Joe Burrow combining for 740 passing yards and 9 touchdowns in this 41-38 OT Ravens win over the Bengals. It was not as pretty in Pittsburgh last night, starting with the 90-minute weather delay before opening kickoff. Dak Prescott gave the ball away 3 times. The Steeler offense only managed 226 yards. Dallas finally won 2017 when Dak threw a 4-yard touchdown to Jalen Tolbert with 20 seconds left. Mike Tomlin's team is 3-2 instead of 4-1.
There's nothing mystical about the outcome. I just thought we didn't do enough over 60 minutes to position ourselves specifically. I thought we started slow offensively, and I thought it was self-inflicted wounds.
They also had a chance at a game-ending fumble recovery, but Dak fell on the ball first, then threw that TD 2 plays later. Practice tears last night as LeBron and Bronny practiced playing and making NBA history in a preseason game with the Suns in Palm Springs. Son checked in the second quarter, joining his dad, making it the first time a father and son have shared an NBA court. They spent 4 minutes and 9 seconds together. In 13 total minutes, Bronny missed the only shot he took and committed 4 turnovers. The Suns won the game, 118-114. It is good to be EJ right now. Miami again won somehow Saturday night. Free breakfast all week, and he's got the lead, I think, in our postseason home run derby.
First pitch on the way. Fernando swings, sends it in the air to deep right center field. Edman is back. This time all he can do is watch. It's going to go. Another home run. Padres with their 6th home run of the night. Fernando with his second. It is 10-1 at Dodger Stadium.
That's Jesse Agler on Padres Radio. Is a 10-2 series tying win for San Diego at Dodger Stadium. The 6 homers, including 2 from Tatis, tying the postseason single game record. This one featured a 12-minute delay in the 7th when Dodger fans threw baseballs and their items at Padre outfielders.
I have a question. Do you bring a baseball to the game? Or is that something that someone caught? Did someone catch it earlier? All of a sudden, this baseball just comes out of the stands.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't be allowed to bring it in. So either you somehow bought it there or caught one along the way, and then you threw it at Jerks and Profar.
Right, so maybe it's like a BP situation, or if you're going to get to the game early and somehow you're going to procure a baseball, why would I wouldn't throw that away.
You wouldn't bring a baseball game in trying to get players to sign it? I mean, that's what I would have done as a child if I had seats down in the 100s.
Right, but then why are you throwing it away?
Well, that I don't understand, yes. But yeah, I mean, I think you can bring a baseball in with the intention of it getting signed.
So imagine you have Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis sign the ball, and then all of a sudden you get a Shohei Ohtani, and you're just like, screw it.
But
wow, you lose.
So, okay, good reason to bring a baseball to a game. But that's also a projectile. So you can do that. You can bring that in, but I can't keep the cap to my bottle of Pepsi because I might be able to put the cap back on and throw my soda at somebody.
And you saw why last night.
I don't make the rules, man. I don't know. Why are you pressing me about it?
I have another question. What's the age that you can no longer bring a glove to a game?
Well, the get out of jail free card in this situation is before the netting, you could bring one for protection.
Yeah.
If you were sitting close enough, you should almost have one just in case something comes your way. But nowadays, a lot of places you're protected completely from those line drives.
Would have helped out that fan in left field. If he had a glove, probably would have interfered with Profar and probably would have landed for a home run.
Yeah.
Possible.
You got to take that left fielder out. I like where Manny's going.
Throw elbows.
I think he would have got Philly at a short wall like that. I mean, he would have probably got assaulted there.
Manny's like, we need more fan interference. That's what's going to help the game.
Do whatever it takes.
Not pictured in this update is the Phillies' 7-6 win over the Mets. That series is 1-1 as well. And you guys might have missed the juiciest hockey drama recently, but it ended yesterday with the Bruins and goalie Jeremy Swayman agreeing to an 8-year, $66 million deal.
Oh, hallelujah.
His holdout included a lot of fighting through the media, but I'm assuming they're all good now for $66 million over 8 years.
Anything on the San Jose Sharks lately?
I think he's a dig.
That's our team.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't help them very much, did we?
We did not.
Our bad.
I used to like it when Manny was here.
Where do they play, Manny?
SAP Center.
Likely story.
None of us can correct you.
Manny has,
That sounds
Manny
right.
has a gift.
Sure sounds right.
It definitely was right, but those things change all the time.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
Manny's secret power is he knows the name of every arena in sports.
Yeah. Be jealous, America.
What happened with Fordham?
About what?
Rose Hill.
Football.
The game.
Oh, they almost won.
There you go.
Which is close enough these days.
Are we going to have to
on the
deal
call?
with are you basically going to be in a good mood when the Mets win and a bad mood when the Mets lose for the rest of the playoffs?
Who, Bogish?
Yeah.
Have you been around all summer?
Yeah. Oh, you're saying he's...
I'm usually in a good mood until you start backtracking on your LeBron.
I don't know,
Bronny
just sort of went after Manny there a little bit too.
Bogish is in a good mood until someone makes him not in a good mood.
Yeah, don't poke this tiny bear.
I feel like if the Mets had won yesterday, we would all have a lot more leeway here.
Meet the Mets.
Is that
I
not
was
true?
surprised that you haven't brought up the awesome Denver Bronco uniforms. I saw you tweet about that yesterday.
So beautiful. Gorgeous.
Every team should just go back to what they wore in 1985 and we'd be fine.
Why is that? Back then, everything seemed ugly. And the 80s, the fashions were terrible. But you're right, they're so much better.
Although there's something off, EJ, about these Jet uniforms. I can't put my finger on it. They're so much better than they used to be, but there's just something not right about them still.
Maybe it's the 3 picks.
Well, some of these guys,
The guys in them.
Don't be a freaking weirdo.
I think they're too baggy.
Yeah, and I think the colored neck thing is too wide.
I think it's the coaching and the players.
I definitely think Salah's got something to do with it.
No, I'd be saying the same thing if they were 5-0.
He's a bum.
But Salah is a problem. I said this to Pete, our old friend Pete Bellotti, off the air. He's never been more right than he was on his Robert Saleh take.
Oh, everyone loved it when he came to town, and then he turned into something different. It's like, this could be the fiery guy, and then we haven't heard a peep since.
I saw an interesting uniform take. I saw the college, I think it was CBS's college shooter, just shredding Ohio State's all-gray uniforms for a good 10 minutes. Is that the ugliest? They said it's the ugliest college uniform there is, and I couldn't believe that.
That's harsh.
I think so. Also, it's not like, your colors, they're just kind of, you have the scarlet, obviously, which is bright, but the gray is kind of dull.
I just think that you should go college, like old school, simple, unless you're going to Oregon and try something like Penn State. That's what I would do. I like simple and bold, and I think the 80s did more of that. The Broncos one, that was the prettiest uniform I've seen in a long time.
But that's not simple, that Broncos. The helmet's got a freaking horse on it.
Yeah, but it's
I
like...
think John Elway's about to run out on the field, and it's awesome.
But it's not like trying to look like a new age superhero transformer kind of thing.
But I thought the Houston uniforms were very cool yesterday.
Oh, I disagree. I was going to ask you. Yeah, I couldn't decide.
I was like, the Bills aren't beating them in that uniform. They look like Marvel, like Black Panther or something. Cool.
Yeah, I didn't like them.
I liked them.
Oh, they were cool.
I don't like any of their new. All of them are new. I don't like any of them.
I like that they're trying to take back the Houston Oiler color a little bit by sneaking in a little light blue in there. Because
I get it.
It's a travesty that the Titans won't let them wear those colors.
I feel like the Texans have always been held back a little bit by their uniforms. They've never been great.
Oh, it's not a great. Nothing's great about that design. Again, anything created in New Millennium, throw it out. It doesn't work.
855-212-4227. See you guys on the phones. You want to talk about the Cowboys? We want to do that too. Bogish, thanks so much. We're back in a minute.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Couldn't help it, he let it slip. Trevor took a hit, felt his nuts rip. Sprained his fucking nuts, twisted him tight. But came back in the game, ready to fight. He sprained his fucking nuts, his balls got wrecked. But still lead the play, no one would expect. Caught that pass to the wind like a stud. With his tools flopping, lying in the mud.
3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Got a big game tonight. We've been so busy wrapping up the weekend, Pearl. We haven't even looked ahead to tonight. Saints-Chiefs in Kansas City.
I know. There's so many storylines here. New Orleans was the team of the league the first 2 weeks. Now they're 2-2. And the other question is, are the Chiefs explosive at all? Without Rashee Rice, I'm very curious to see if they look really sluggish. Do they go into the trade market big time in wide receiver? Not necessarily Adams, but do they get an Amari Cooper? I think there's a lot at stake here.
Yeah, a lot of teams need some help. This is a good time for Davante Adams to ask for a trade. Meanwhile, Tony's our pal in Toronto wants to talk about the Cowboys game from last night. Cowboys escape with a win in Pittsburgh. Last second, 4th and goal. Dak Prescott to Jalen Tolbert finds Pater. What's up, Tony?
Hi, guys. Good morning. Long-time Dallas Cowboys fan. I wish Dak would be playing better, but I don't think he's the problem.
Okay.
There seems to be a lack of communication and knowing what routes or plays that they need to do. And in this case, CeeDee Lamb. He's your premier wide receiver.
Yeah.
He looked like a fool yesterday in his antics and complaining. Dak always looks professional. I got to give that to Dak. He didn't add anything.
You're talking about miscommunication between the two of them. And I thought it was, Tony, a little bit odd on the broadcast, actually. So CeeDee Lamb is saying something, I guess, to Prescott. But Chris Collinsworth's like, oh, I'm going to let you read lips on this. It doesn't look good, doesn't look good. Do you want to know what that reminded me of? That reminds me of a broadcaster who either knows something or knows a story or got tipped off on something about their relationship but was told it off the record.
Ooh, that's wild.
You know, I've been watching football for a long time, but it seems coincidental that whenever there's a problem on a team, not really getting along or some frustrations, it seems the wide receivers are the ones that are the
Tony, you just start watching football?
Yeah.
We kid, Tony, we kid. But yeah, thank you for the phone call and pointing that out. And appreciate you. The wide receivers generally are the ones who are the most upset.
It's by structure because the wide receivers need to be total egomaniacs because you need to want the ball at all times. Like there's never enough targets for any wide receiver. Just get me the ball. I think that's what you want out of a wide receiver, but it's not really a team-friendly position. By the way, there was a little video they did in the Steelers-Cowboys where Mike McCarthy went to his family. You know, he's from Pittsburgh famously and brought Dak Prescott with him. I feel like I wonder if CD's thinking, oh, like Dak's a teacher's pet a little bit. Like I wonder if Dak gets just too much love in that locker room where it's like all Dak all the time. That's my theory on what's going on.
Oh, interesting. I also saw that vignette, and my thought on it was this was McCarthy calling in a favor to the quarterback. Hey, can you do me a solid? Come meet my family. Got a big Dak Prescott fan in the family, something like that.
Right, but McCarthy clearly is same thing. He's a fan of Prescott. Like he's going to. By the way, the other takeaway, like
Cooper Rush was also there.
Yeah, Cooper Rush was
I think it was a quarterback thing.
Mike McCarthy, very good-looking young man.
The yearbook photo.
Yeah. I've seen it before. Like you forget Mike McCarthy was a stud back in the day. He was a quarterback? I can't remember.
Manny's gonna choke.
Yeah. But you know who else was? Who's the guy, the one that always shocks me? He was considered the most handsome. He's an assistant coach, longtime offensive coordinator. Help me out here. We talked about this earlier in the year.
What team?
He was famously a stud. We know. Oh, help me out here, Maggie. He was.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Oh, Tom Thibodeau. Basketball. Tom Thibodeau, the Knicks coach, was like a male Adonis.
I have pictures of young Thibodeau saved on my phone.
Yeah, McCarthy's got the same thing going on, where he was a very good-looking young man who is now, he's not bad-looking by any means, but he's let himself go a little bit.
No, but you said offensive coordinator.
I know.
That's not what Tibbs does.
Yeah, no, I was thinking, but Tibbs could be an offensive coordinator. He's built like an offensive coordinator. He's built like Mike McCarthy. Anyway, yeah.
Just not as tall.
Well, how do you explain this? Well, CD, it's funny. It's never quite right.
Well, is it because he gets a lot of double teams, too?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Also, it was right last year up until the last game. He had a fantastic season. One where we're asking whether he's the best wide receiver in the league. Now, that's clearly Justin Jefferson. I think Jefferson has put that. And I think that he's put
Chase is right there, too.
Chase is great, but I think Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver in the league. He has been for a while. He's been so good. And I'm not saying that that's all, Sam Darnold's only a product of Jefferson, but Jefferson's amazing. And if he's not catching the ball, he's drawing the PI. That was against Sauce Gardner yesterday, that game in London. I mean, Sauce is one of the best corners in the league.
I still think Jamar Chase is right there.
Well, he might be right there, but if we were doing a draft and it was...
I don't know. Chase wants to get one more dollar than Jefferson, right? That's the thing going on.
Yeah.
But, back to CD for a second. Like, the lasting image of last year was him on the sideline getting consoled by Mike McCarthy in the playoff game. I'm just saying he seems a little emotional. That's why you got to get help there, Maggie. You said it. You should have signed Derrick Henry. You should get a receiver. Just do something. You got to mix this up, even though they won last night.
Wide receivers getting emotional. It never happens. It's so rare. It's a drip of sarcasm. Thank you, DJ Stewart. Thank you to Manny Rodriguez. Thank you to Andrew Bogish and Andrew Kaplan. Weedos, coffee drinkers. Couldn't do the show without you. We'll be back tomorrow. Enjoy Chiefs Saints tonight and baseball.